There's a championship on the line. There's Australia's greatest motor race on the line right here today at Mount Panorama. And look at that, what a wonderful grid. It is overflowing with talent. And Australia has bred and continues to breed some just marvellous racing talent. Young Luke Youlden out of macro there, centre of screen in the second, Castrol Commodore. The view from behind, the youngest combination on the grid, right there in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore, 19-year-old Paul Dumbrell and 21-year-old Leanne Ferry. Now there's the Team Kiwi entry. They are in pit lane, and we are about to begin the sighting lap.
Well, word from the pits was that they were actually going to start from the pit exit lane. They haven't made the grid, but have a look at that. Doesn't look too good. It's up on the air jacks, and doesn't look like it's going anywhere at the moment. We'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully Team Kiwi can make a start.
6.2 kilometres of lead up. The next time we see them leave that grid, it will be for real. Their final opportunity to take a look at the track, our last opportunity to take a look at the grid, and it is the rookie and the new combination of Ambrose and Wakefield will start from the #1 position. Seton and Richards alongside. The second row, Engle and Perkins, Bright and Mazira, a very strong combination there. Scaife and Longhurst, Johnson and Radicic, one of the favourites. Bow and Wills, and Ellery, and the very experienced Jeff Brabham.
The highest quality, most competitive field we've ever seen on Mount Panorama. Tander and Bargwana, the reigning champions, start out of 9. Jim Richards and Dean Canto. Combination of youth and experience out of 10. Kelly and Murphy, watch them. Lowndes and Crompton could be a surprise. Ritter and McLean in the second shell forward. Morris and Stinchbury. Wheel and Lay, Bernard and White out of 16.
It's quite a full grid, 39 cars in total. Faulkner with a new partner, Dorman. Larkham and Gardner, they've had some bad luck, but keep your eyes out for that machine. Pretty and Kelly in the second Kmart car, and then Team Kiwi. They've got some work to do. They won't start from that 20th position. McConville and Bates, Jones and Cleland, a strong run at the Queensland 500. What can they come up with here? McDougall and Mediki, Macro and Youlden in the second Castrol car.
Tratt and Alan Jones start out at 25. Ferrier and Dumbrell in the second Valvoline Cummins Commodore. Noski and Baird in the Bud Racing debut at Mount Panorama. Nash and Ricciardello in the Rod Nash Commodore. Romano and Kelly team up in the Holden Young Lions entry. Forbes and Parsons in the second Gibson Motorsport Ford. Reed and Ashby, the veterans, out of 31. Halliday and Crick in the 3M Ford. Hopefully they'll make their start out of 32.
Bit of a hiccup this morning in the warm-up for those guys. Terry Waihoon, Rod Salmon, Skyfleet and DeGoston, Harris, Simpson, Heath and Breed, some rookies back there. Young Jamie Brock and Steve Owen, Holt and Mundy, and Crampton and Donaher. Now that makes up our 39 car field. Now starting right from the back of that is Team Kiwi. Greg Russ, what's the latest?
Well, Lee, the crowd here on pit straight just erupted moments ago. They got this car ready, filled it with fuel, just did a quick systems check. Jason Richards will start from pit lane, but what a great testimony. Never, ever give up. That's a simple and shining example these guys have just shown.
It is indeed, and we wish them the best of luck. Boy, they've had to endure a tough last 12, 14 hours.
I was in their garage about half an hour ago. If you'd have seen the state of it, you would have sworn blind there was no chance they'd ever get it done.
No. Incredible quality of combinations here. Marcus Ambrose, great to see the Pertec Ford taking its position on the front row of the grid. There was a problem with that car, a bit of a hiccup after the warm-up.
Yeah, the problem was that the air intake, the temperature in the airbox was so low that it was mucking up the fuel supply, and basically the carburation was up the pictures, for want of a better explanation. But they've got it sorted now, which is kind of good.
Oh, that's good news for Marcus Ambrose and Wayne Wakefield, who has been given tremendous opportunity by the Stone Brothers operation. Let's check out the Ford race analysis on Mount Panorama Bathurst. 39 starters in all, 161 laps on 1,000 kilometres the total distance. The pit windows, there's 3 compulsory fuel stops that must be made between laps 2 and 120, and of course the brake pad change, the compulsory brake pad change between 48 and 120, and of course the reigning champs, the Tander and Bargwana in the Valvoline Cummins Commodore.
As if starting this race isn't daunting enough, Brad Jones is complaining of a knock in one of the wheels. He doesn't know what it is, possibly a caliper rubbing on the rim, so they may have to come in soon to suss out what that is.
We're waiting for the last few cars to grid up. That's Glenn Seton. Certainly not the first time he started from the front row, and it more than likely will not be the last. But alongside him, what a fabulous story. 25-year-old Marcus Ambrose, first time on the mountain, and took pole yesterday in the top 15 shootout.
I always get so nervous in the first corner at the start. You think, well, it's 161 laps, don't let's ruin it at the first corner. It's really tight when you actually go around the circuit. You can't believe how tight it is, and for so many cars, 39 cars to get through there. unscathed is quite a miracle.
Well, I'm just really happy that the grid is this size, 40 cars. You know, we've had a problem before with a lot of cars, a lot of problems early in the race with safety car periods. We've got a super high quality field here.
It only happens once a year. That's why it is Australia's greatest motor race. We are seconds away from the start of the V8 Supercar 1000. We have a green flag from the back.
Long time.
As the seconds tick by, we are building up to the start for the 2001 Classic. Now listen to the revs rise. Let's go to work. The 2001 V8 Supercar 1000 is away and bogging it down. Russell Engle in the middle of the grid. He's gone right back. Fortunately, everyone has avoided him. Now he gets going. Boy, that was breathtaking.
Absolutely breathtaking stuff. He got squeezed up on the curb on the inside of the Gibson Ford. One of his got through cleanly. Boy, he was vulnerable sitting there. He could have been hit very hard in the back, but he managed to get away with it. Dougal McDougall in trouble in the Pepsi Commodore. He hasn't even got off the line.
Coming up the inside, Paul Radisich in the 17 Shell Helix Ford slots in. Then it's Mark Scape. The second HRT Commodore is up there as well. They sort themselves out. Ritter has dropped a long way back from the grid. He didn't get away to the best of starts either, but Radisich, Bright. Then it's Scape. Marcus Ambrose, the pole sitter, followed by John Bowe.
Brilliant start by Glenn Seton. He leads the thundering pack up the mountain for the first time in the brand new FTR Falcon. The Ford flags are waving there, as you can see as they come out of the cutting up toward Reed Park the first time.
Across the top, Wheel has got away to a very good start. Starting in 15th, he's made his way forward. Ritter has dropped back, but look at this.
Seton is on it. Look at that. Wow, it's a massive amount of ground to put out in the first half of lap.
Magnificent sight across the top of the mountain as this capacity crowd cheer on the heroes, thundering down the hill for the first time. There's the Gibson Motorsport Falcon, but here's the car that has really been setting the pace all week. Glenn Seton, he's got the hammer down in the FTR Ford as they head down toward Forest Elbow for the first time.
Stephen Ellery has got away to a good start in the Super Chick Autos car. Look at this, HRT on the inside. Scape was trying to put a move on Jason Bright early on, out of the Aussie male elbow, but Bright held that position into Conrod for the first time of 161.
295 kilometres an hour, flat out in sixth gear. The V8 Supercars thunder down Conrod Straight. They come under our camera as they race down toward the chase for the first time.
Look at Wheel. How about that 10 out of 10 to Wheel? He made a great start.
Well, from 15th, he's made his way up to about 7th or 8th. It's a very, very strong start. Tanders battling hard on the opening lap. John Bowe, quite a nifty start as well. They head down.
Listen to the crowd roar. They're absolutely packed in so deep here on pit straight. Watch the heroes come past on this first exciting lap. Marcus Ambrose didn't make the best start, but he's in there in that leading 5.
The 17 Ford was pretty impressive too, from 7th on the grid, from 6th on the grid up into 2nd, and Radisich made very quick work of that. There is Russell Engle forcing his way on the inside of Craig Lowndes on the opening lap. What went wrong at the start for Russell Engle?
13th place is in now, Engle. Wow, I don't know. That's, he was lucky to get it off the line.
Oh, wasn't he? Just look at this. This is like the Holden Racing Team car. Jason Bright just ducking out of the draft. Might have had an attack up the inside on brakes into XR8 bend. Not that time around. It's Glenn Seton, Paul Radisich, Jason Bright, Mark Scaife, Marcus Ambrose, John Bowe in 6th, Stephen Ellery in 7th, Tander in 8th, Jim Richards in the 2nd, FTR Fords in the top 10, Paul Wheel as well.
We ride with the Pertec Ford, Marcus Ambrose, the pole sitter, the rookie at the mountain. And he sits in behind the 2 HRT Commodores. Jason Bright is the first one on the road, followed by Mark Scaife. They're both chasing the rat as they cross the top for the second time.
Well, obviously the Stone brothers did sort their car out, didn't they? Which was nice for us.
Let's take a look, another look rather, at the start. And this is the view from inside Craig Lowndes' car.
Look how lucky Engle was not to get planted up the rear.
Lowndes had trouble getting off the line.
Yeah.
He had major problems there. The engine bogging down. He took 2 or 3 stabs at it. Mark Scaife down the inside of his teammate Jason Bright. So Scaife's really on a charge in these opening laps. Everyone checking each other out, just seeing who's got the speed.
Seton's quickest 2:15 so far.
These cars are running on full tanks of fuel, 120 litres of fuel sloshing around in the boot of these things. It's early days here. Drivers just getting the car set up. They'll be adjusting brake balance. They'll be adjusting anti-roll bars. They're making adjustments to the car, talking to their crew, and getting the car settled into a groove in these opening laps.
Yeah, I think it's something that you don't really think of at the beginning of the race. They can run more brake on the rear because they got more weight in the back of them with the fuel, and then as the weight goes down, they've got to adjust the race towards
mate, nice and easy.
Oh, that was Jeff Greco, I think, was it?
McDougall and Mediki, the problem there was a broken tail shaft. Tough weekend. They also had a crash earlier on in practice, so they will try and fix this one and get back out.
Yeah, Rob Starr, Robbie Starr, Mark Scape's chief mechanic, just talking to him there. Keep an eye on the race pace, Mark. Got a long, long way to go here. Reigning Shell Series champion, trying to address the situation. HRT have not been that successful here in the V8 supercar era. Only one victory, that was back in 1996 with Lowndes and Murphy. Here comes Gary Holt into the pits early.
So we've seen a bit of a nightmare start for several competitors. Team Kiwi, McDougall and Mediki, and now Gary Holt and Kevin Mundy as well as they crawl up pit lane. But look at this. More importantly, Mark Scafe is really starting to apply the pressure to the rat. Paul Radicic on only the third lap of 161. Seton enjoys a 1.5 second lead at the moment, but that means little over the course of 6.5, 7 hours. But it's nice to have some clear air up front. Watch Scafe. He won't want to sit in third for too much longer. He made a very good move. He lined Jason Bright up on the opening lap, heading into Forest Elbow, and then successfully executed over the second.
Just had a word to the guys down at Team Castrol, and Russell apparently didn't really want to comment on what happened at the start. One can only assume that that means he did bog it down, but the guys say he's going hard now. Just gotten past Craig Lowndes and he's on the attack.
We've got a hell of a battle going on here for second place between Ford and Holden. Mark Scape ducks into the draft behind the Shell Ford. We go to our chopper shot high above Conrod Straight at 290 k's. Mark Scape looking for a way around the rat. They get hard under brakes into the chase. He looks up the inside, goes very deep. Radicic gives him room and Scape up to second.
Very, very fast-paced. Scafe has made an incredibly dynamic start to this 1,000-kilometre enduro. Now the next one on his checklist is that car there. Glenn Seton in the Ford Tickford Racing AU XR8. Look at Scafe, so determined so early on. And these guys, as they come across the line, they flash across your updated race score at the bottom of your screen. Scafe, Radicic, Bright, look at that, they're all lining up. Ellery's in there as well, Ambrose, Tander, Richards, Murphy, and Wheel in 11.
Leaders lapping in the low 2:14, high 2:13 bracket. Fastest lap of the race so far, Russell Engle, finding his way back from that terrible start. He's done a 2:13.2. Can he keep it up? Look at this, Radicic attacking on the inside. He doesn't quite have enough speed. So Jason Bright's ducked past as well.
That's the Ashby Reed. No, it's the McConville Bates car coming in very, very early. Some problems for Cam McConville.
Russell Engle's got the hammer down. He's pushing hard. 2:13.27, fastest lap of the race so far for the Castrol Commodore.
Just had a word to team boss Wally Story down here at the Lansvale Smash team. He says Cameron's brought the car in. The engine has gone flat. It's lost power for some reason. They do not know why.
Rolls One Shell car runs incredibly strong up in fourth position right there. Paul Radicic, the second Shell Helix car, car 18. Greg Ritter lost something like 5 or 6 positions off the line. He's back in around about 18th position as we speak. In fact, he's dropped one more. He's 19th after starting in 13th. So a tardy start for Ritter, but a long way to go.
Oh, look, Russell, the fastest lap. The great thing about this race is, you know, you can remember when Larry and Engle won it. Larry was touring around with a puncture, wasn't he, at the back of the field? I mean, you just never, ever know what's going to happen.
But Russell was so lucky to get away with that.
Yeah, not getting planted, you're right.
So easily been hit in the back. We've taken 2 cars out, particularly Russell Engle and Larry Perkins, one of the race favourites. We're in car with Paul Radicic. Someone reporting to their team that they've got a tyre rubbing on a guard. I'm not sure who sent that message.
We get the word that it's come from Mark Scafe through to his HRT crew. And perhaps one explanation for Ritter's demise off the line was maybe he got caught up behind Russell Engle's incident. But look how quickly Mark Scafe, he's just evaporated that 1.5 second lead. Maybe it's Seton's car that's got the guard rubbing. Yes, it is.
Oh, yes, it was Seton's car.
So maybe touched the wall somewhere.
Left rear wheel. He got stuck into it in those opening laps, didn't he? I wonder if he's brushed something. Looks like the tyres rubbing. You can see that. Mark Scaife's getting a good view of the problems for the FTR car. Hopefully that won't develop into a major problem for Seton. Here comes Scaife. He goes to the inside. He's going to attack under brakes. Up the inside of the FTR Ford, and Mark Scaife takes the lead of the V8 Supercar 1000.
A little bit out of left rear. Just stay at the fuel tank. The amount of fuel we've got, let the grip stay keep it going.
Okay, the word from the crew is don't worry too much at the moment, Glenn. We've got a full tank of fuel on. It's probably just the fact that we're carrying such a load. The bum of the car sitting down a little bit low and the tyres are rubbing. Hopefully that's the problem.
The team tell me they were going to bring him in. They've monitored his progress as he was heading up Mountain Straight there. They've just put the tyres away. They're going to keep Glenn Seton out there.
Well, there's no damage on the rear left of the car. We got a good look at that earlier. It doesn't appear as though he's slapped the wall anywhere at all, which is a little bit of a mystery. But he still runs in a very strong second. But what about the defending champion and the championship leader, Scaife, is just going from strength to strength at the moment as they flash down through the S's, heading towards the VB dipper. Scaife has already gapped Seton, and now the second HRT car with Jason Bright lines up for a go.
Ambient temperature of 11 degrees on the mountain, track temperature 25. Very cold conditions for the opening laps of this event. Mark Scaife, though, this is a real attack from Holden Racing Team in the opening laps. He's leading this one. He's got his teammate not far behind. A lot of speed from the Red Barons.
Further back in the field, Lowndes is starting to recover after we saw he bogged it down off the line. He dropped back as far as further than 15th. He's now made his way forward to 13th. Morris is 14th and Brad Jones is 13th. But up front, well, we know that order has changed after they crossed the timing monitor. Scaife now leads the way, and Tony Longhurst would be enjoying that. Bright is there chasing out hard after Seton. Johnson and Radicic with the rat behind the wheel. And the Bow Wills Cat Ford is in the top 5. And again, if you've just joined the coverage, this is just one of in excess of 40 in-car and on-car cameras amongst 10 different cars this year's V8 1000.
Fantastic seeing the driver's feet at work.
Yeah.
It's so true, that, isn't it, Baz, when they say you don't steer a race car so much with the steering wheel as you do with the pedals.
Incredible. It's people who don't know, on the left-hand side, that's a footrest because the G-forces and pushing around, it throws you around so much. If you didn't have that footrest on the left-hand side, you tend to put your foot on the clutch or something.
And look at that.
And
flat changing, just doesn't lift off the throttle at all. It just bangs the clutch to take a little bit of torque load off the cogs and bangs it through next gear. That's the way those gearboxes work the best. Oh, we've got a car in trouble here.
Who's that?
That's the Brock
James
car.
Brock. James Brock.
He's gone straight on where Thomas Mazira did several years ago. That's down at the Auto Vitel Chase.
That's going to be a safety car.
It would have to be a safety car. Here's a Shell Helix replay.
Lock up, major lock up there.
That looks like a blown tyre, blown front tyre.
Yeah, you're right,
On the right side, because look at it flapping around.
Yeah.
You're right.
James Brock in all sorts of trouble, but isn't it great they've got that massive sand trap there to arrest cars going at enormous speed.
The Shell Helix replay telling the story, and this is the story on the racetrack, and that's quite a story there. Young Paul Wheel in front of Craig Lowndes, and he's currently running in 9th position after starting 15th. There's a bunch of Fords there. We see the Romano car. Is someone in trouble here? Whoa, this is the Donaher entry. Donaher and Leighton Cranbrook.
Can he get out
And
of the
that's
way?
Mick's second spin for the day because he went off in the V8 Brutes race as well. Ellery on the inside, Seton's gone off. Now rejoins at XR8 corner. That's not the place to do it, Glenn. And through comes the second FTR car. Jim Richards on board.
I wonder if he's got some sort of handling dilemma here. That car just went straight on.
This is what was confusing earlier on because he was up there.
I think he got a touch there from Marcus Ambrose. There was a little bit of contact there going through Ford cutting. Copped a knock in the back, and I think we'll see that car coming in very shortly. That's a real mystery.
Yeah, that's why the thing was fast, slow, fast. You know, there's something wrong there somewhere.
That was terrible. He almost went straight on there at XR8 corner. Paul Morris now sneaking up behind him. He's losing a ton of time. Seton's lap times have been a little bit down. And you can see the other competitors coming up and pouncing on him lap by lap. So there's problems here for the brand new number 5 Ford. It's been a very quick car throughout the week. Problems emerging in the race, as we've seen so many times for Glenn Seton and Mount Panorama.
I was going to say, he never gets any luckier, does he?
No, it's a bogey track, no doubt about it. Let's have a look at this replay. Look at this, it just doesn't seem to He's way offline there anyway.
Yeah, but it just doesn't seem... It seems very, very weird that he almost went straight on. Do you understand what I mean? It wasn't like it was understeering or anything. It just sort of didn't seem like he wanted a turn for some reason.
We ride with Garth Tander. This is the view, and look at the cars up ahead. This has been an enthralling battle for the first 15 laps. He's got Jim Richards immediately ahead in the number 6 FTR AUXR8 down into Murray's. Wheel, Lowndes, Richards, Tander.
Lowndes all over the back of the K&J thermal car, so Lowndes continuing his march up through the top 10. A bit of a squeeze here between Paul Morris. Russell Engle brings it down again. Can you believe that? A 2:11.48.
Wow.
Yeah, but look how many people in the 211s. It's Ellery.
Five cars are in the 11s.
Oh,
And on the inside comes Bernard. Ritter's done it once to Morris. Now Bernard tries to squeeze through. This is a good comeback from Greg Ritter in the number 18 Shell Helix Ford. Ritter now sits in 15th position. He's made up about 4 over the last 6 or 7 laps. So he continues to grow in confidence at the mountain.
Believe the amount of speed on board Russell Engle's car. The previous lap record was a 2:12.33 set by Larry Perkins back in 1997. These cars are just about throwing that out the window. Look at these problems here for, it's the second Valvoline car. Early stop. Looks like they're just putting on a new right rear tyre. Taking the opportunity to tip some fuel into the car as well.
It's the youngest driver combination we have here at Mount Panorama this year. 19-year-old Paul Dumbrell, the university student who has been here at the mountain several times, and Leanne Ferrier making her debut. Problems with the car there. Now they're off and away.
Paul does look really young, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. 2:11.48 for Russell Engle. Haven't they got some speed available in that car? That'll be encouraging for later in the race. Keep in mind all these cars and drivers at the moment are just checking each other out. It's a real game of chess for about the first 2/3 of the race. Then you've really got to be in a strong situation. Your brakes have got to be right. Your tyres, your car speed's got to be fantastic in case you've got to fight right down to the wire in the last hour or half hour of the race. Shell Helix replay. Here comes Greg Murphy, is it?
Yeah, on the inside of Jason Bright. Overtake going up into XR8 corner. So Murphy and Engle and Bow have been incredibly strong. Mark Scaife is enjoying almost a 4-second lead. But Bow, Murphy, Engle, they have been incredibly strong. So Bright's lost 2 positions over the last 3 laps. And Morris continuing to power on, but he's a little further back.
Seton must be coming into the pits. He'd have to, because he's dropped way, way down in this now.
Scaife hasn't backed it off that far, though. Another 2:12.9 for the race leader. 2.5 seconds the gap between Scaife and Bow. And Bow's really got the hammer down at 2:11.64. He's only 2/10 away from that new lap record by Engle. So maybe this is going to come true. The high 11s, 2:12s that people were talking about as the race pace. This is going to be a real car breaker.
At one stage, Mark Scaife was enjoying in excess of 5 seconds up front. Now watching the background, there is the Cat Ford. So through it comes, and there's Murphy. 3 different teams in the top 3 positions. Then Bright, and Engle is lining up for a shot at the number 2 HRT car.
Look at this, 2:11.17. New lap record. They're just continuing to chop it down lap by lap. John Bow in the Caterpillar car. This is probably the fastest XR8 Ford on the circuit at the moment. And now he's got the race winner, the race leader, I should say, well within his sights.
We got a really good peak hole view of how strong this Caterpillar Ford is at the Queensland 500 when John Bow, the 2 times Bathurst winner, and the current Konica Series winner, Simon Wills, combined there at Queensland Raceway. Now it's on for real as he climbs Mountain Straight. Look at this. This is obviously an incident from before. This is what it was. Wow.
Paul Morris has just banked up there.
And that's why David Bernard came in. That was a replay and a change for the lead. Bow takes the lead for the first time in the V8 Supercar 1000 as they climb the mountain again. JB leads the way.
He's got the foot down at 2:11.17. I wonder if we're going to get down to a new race record in the 2:10s. Can you believe it? People were threatening that the race pace was going to drop dramatically in the opening laps. This is incredible stuff.
I bet poor old Paul Morris won't be too happy about that.
That's obviously why Bernard came in and the crew checked the car. They couldn't see anything wrong with it.
12 guys lapping at 1:11.
Yeah.
1:11 is incredible.
Scaife has backed it off. We've heard that from the crew. Fuel economy a major consideration here for the Holden Racing team. He's still sitting in there behind race leader John Bow and the Caterpillar Falcon. So a great battle between Ford and Holden on the mountain here, the traditional rivals. So many great battles.
When you think about it, Mark, he could sit in behind Bowie and get a bit of a tow and sort of back her off a bit. And it's amazing the amount of fuel you save just by backing the throttle off sort of a 1/16 of an inch from flat out.
We witnessed some incredible driving earlier on when it was just a freight train of 10 or a dozen cars, just nose to tail, and it was excellent driving, no major contact. It was very, very clean. Lap 19 of 161. We are edging closer and closer to that first scheduled stop. And if you can stay out of trouble, meet that pit strategy, the day is looking good. Here's the Shell Helix replay of John Bowe in the Cat Ford overtaking Mark Scaife in the HRT Commodore. Nice move, and it's a great overtaking point up into XR8 corner.
It's great looking at that in slow motion. You can see the bump control of the car as it comes over those bumps under brakes. Look at the Shell Helix replay. Just a bit of a disagreement or misunderstanding there. Paul Morris got the dirty end of the stick there. Just managed to keep it off the concrete walls. That's put him out here. Haviland Ford is back in pit lane.
Just spoken to Big Kev Racing crew chief Greg Worcester. He tells me that he's been down to the officials just to see if there's going to be anything that comes of that incident involving David Bernard and Paul Morris at the early stages of this race. At this stage, nothing will come of it. A little bit further down pit lane, Greg Ritter has come in. Cameron McLean standing by to get inside the 18 car. Change of wheels, fresh rubber and some fuel going in. This should be a pretty slick stop, and a different trend, as I said before, to what many expected. Most expected them to go to about lap 32 before their first stop.
Major problems up there for the Ricciardello Nash. Cameron McLean takes over the wheel from Greg Ritter in the number 18 Ford. Ritter did a good job to recover after getting caught up behind Russell Engle off the line. So they've put themselves in a reasonable position. And when Ritter pitted, they were in 15th position. Now, apparently the Nash and Ricciardello car has been black flagged. The Haviland Ford, David Bernard still in the pits. About to exit, but they've lost a lot of time. We are well underway with the 2001 V8 Supercar 1000. And you can hear some problems there for that Haviland Ford. As we roll through the Shell Helix race score, Seton is all the way back in 14th with some work to do.
John Bowe, the new race leader, and he now has built a 4.6-second lead over Murphy, Engle, Scaife, Ellery, Bright, Radisich, Lowndes, Wheel, Tander, Jones, Jim Richards, Marcus Ambrose, Glenn Seton and Mark Larkham. That's your top 15.
And if you can't make your mind up whether you're a Holden or Ford supporter, well, it's quite a good parity situation in the top 10. 5 Fords and 5 Holdens. But it's a Ford that leads the way with the veteran, John Bowe. You're not quite sure how many seasons he will have left, maybe 2, maybe 3. He's still very much enjoying his driving. Look at this on the inside, Radisich powers out of Murray's and ducks up the inside of Garth Tander, and Lowndes is lining up for a slot as well. He should be able to get Tander. It's a good block movement. On the inside, Paul Wheel almost went through and did get through. Great stuff.
So Dumbrell drops back in behind that pack. Up the hill, Shell 17 Ford. Look at Lowndes just running along with Radisich now. Radisich in 7th, Lowndes in 8th. Wheels going with them too. Great performance from the K&J Thermal car. These guys were very strong at Queensland. They had a great strategy to play out there. They didn't quite work out the way they wanted it, but they had speed, they had reliability, and they had good pit work. So keep an eye on the K&J Thermal machine.
Yeah, and so far, Paul Wheel's done a good job with the officials so far. He has about as good a run-in with the officials as I used to when I was racing.
It's a remarkable story because there's only about 6 people in that team. They run it out of their home on the Gold Coast. They have a barn. It's a family-owned and run team, so it's a very, very good effort. And I think Ford will be taking a little bit more of an interest in this young man's future if he can continue to run like this. The Bud car is in the pits. The Noski and Craig Baird entry. The 888 machine, a brand new car, and their first outing in the Shell Championship Series, and most certainly their first Bathurst.
Well, at one time, Paul was the up-and-coming star, wasn't he? He was the little flyer, and then it all went a bit flat. So it's nice to see it come on the boil again.
I think the thing is that you have to think about, look at Lowndes as he pushes Radisich out of the elbow, right on him. The thing you have to remember about Paul Wheel is that he didn't come through go-karts and Formula Fords. He came off motocross, then did some stadium off-road, and then jumped into a V8 supercar before he even had his road licence.
Oh, just staggered. Look at, he's done it again. A 2:10.20. John Bowe, Dunlop tells the story. Fastest up. Look at Lowndes. Applying plenty of pressure to The Shell 17 Ford, Paul Radicic, got his mirrors full of that evil-looking Falcon. One of the most amazing paint jobs we've seen on a race car. Those mean green eyes. Look at this down the inside. Here comes Lowndes. Radicic gives him room, or does he? They're going to go side by side, and Radicic goes up on the grass.
Oh, that was a good bit of grass.
Wow.
Look at this. Lowndes, Wheel, Radicic. I thought Paul gave him plenty of room, and then he came back, and they were side by side. And Radicic was very lucky not to run up and hit the arm on the outside.
Keep it straight.
Keep it straight's the message.
Big up straight, mate. All the way on the corners. And there's a cat in the straight path.
Quite sure what the message was there, but you can see by the top up on the circuit, the curbs are much lower, and the cars are dropping their wheels up over the curb and onto the dirt.
That was Paul speaking back to Dick, wasn't it?
Not quite sure. It's a little bit hard to work.
Yeah,
It's a bit
I think it was
distorted.
Dick said something, and then there was Paul saying something.
Here is an earlier bump. This is coming down into the elbow, I think it is. And look at watch Lowndes. This is where he serves up Radicic. Just lets him know, hey, I'm here, and I'm ready to have a go. And that eventuated down into Murray's. Watch it again.
This was really lucky. Right, have a good look at this, right?
Well, I think Craig, you can look at how much lock he's got on the wheels there. Just that Radicic
Did a good job there, Radicic.
didn't want to pull the nose out of the battle, and he managed to keep it off the fence.
Mate,
Let's have a look at this from the top.
When you look at it, Lowndes takes the natural racing line anyway, and it's just that Paul kept in the throttle and then eventually ran out of road.
Did a real good job there. It was a Houdini job, that.
Nothing malicious in that whatsoever. Lap 29 of 161. We're getting tantalisingly close to seeing our lead runners pit for the first scheduled stop. What a run by this young man. He's ahead of Paul Radicic. Then it's Garth Tander, still maintaining his 10th position. Damage on the front.
Craig Lowndes has hit something, and look at the damage on the front splitter of that car.
They may need a new front
How
splitter.
bad is it, Craig? Feels fine.
Oscar Fiorinotto asking Lowndes how bad is it, and he said so far it
Is
feels
okay,
fine.
Craig? Can you stay out? I can? Yes, I can.
Will it be okay for the moment?
Okay, stay out. Stay out.
They'll try and keep him out to their first stop.
Well, what's going to happen if that front undertray?
Yeah, I was going to say exactly the same thing. If it's broken.
Oh, it looks okay. No, he hasn't broken
I think
it.
that's. Oh, yeah, it is. It is. It's cracked right away out there. That's not going to be very nice right at the end of Conrod Straight, is it? As you're turning into.
Car 34, Garth Tander comes in. This is probably the first scheduled stop, lap 30 of 161. Tander gets out, Jason Bargwanna gets in, the reigning Bathurst champions. Very handily placed at the moment before they came in for their stop inside the top 10.
And with an ominous sign and some ominous words, they said, oh, Marcus Ambrose.
Ambrose.
He's gone off in the pit entry. The pole
no.
sitter. What a nightmare start after such a fabulous day yesterday. And problems here with the Valvoline Cummins car.
That's right, guys. Let's reverse.
They cannot get it started. Trying to push start it. Jason Bargwanna's away though. He's managed to get the car fired up, but that's very hard pushing that car uphill. It's all happening here. Marcus Ambrose has come off. Just can't imagine what's happened there to come off on the pit entry road. There he is behind the rescue vehicle.
Well, look, if you look at.
Oh, he's in the sand. He's gone right off into the bunker.
That is a bizarre error. Well, whether something's happened with the front end of the car, or, I mean, that's very uncharacteristic of Marcus.
Safety car is on the circuit, so we've got our first safety car period in the V8 Supercar 1000.
Marcus Ambrose frantically trying to do everything he can.
Under safety car. Can you say under safety car?
Yes, in this lap, we are going to change the spoiler.
Okay, so the
Loosen your belt.
Gibson Motorsport team telling Lowndes to come in. They're going to fix it. Meanwhile, Marcus Ambrose, how frustrating would this be?
And there was double radio communication there. Ambrose saying, sorry, guys, I'm so sorry.
Shh. You could hear him breathing. Let's have a look at the replay. What's he done there?
He's just come in too hot.
Looks like it. He's gone right across the grass. Ended up in the kitty litter.
He's come in simply too hot on pit road. And that is a very uncharacteristic error of Marcus Ambrose. Someone has stopped down there at Aussie Mail elbow. They have come to a
It's
stop. That's the Bud car, yeah.
From the
Mark
height, it
Noski.
looked like an HRT car.
In comes the race leader, and
He's overshot his pit. You can see all the cat team running up the pit lane trying to drag him back.
Can you believe it? John Bowe has missed his pit bay by 3 or 4 lengths. The team pushing him back. This was supposed to be the lightning stop strategy that would maintain his lead. Now it is all gone bad. Simon Wills will have to jump in. They're still trying to get the car to stop before they can jack it up. This is pressure stations for the team, and they've blundered their first stop.
Well, it's just as well for them. They're doing it under a safety car period. That'll minimise the damage, but the Gibson Motorsport car's in too, and I'm sure they'll be putting a new front spoiler on that car.
I'm down here in pit lane at the Holden Racing team. Jason Wright has just gotten out of car 2, Thomas Mazira in, but you guys had to wait a little bit because you were behind Scafey's car. What happened there?
You know, we just tried to decide that we've got to make the most of this opportunity. So, you know, it's once a lifetime chance to come in under yellow. So, you know, we had to make the most of it. Even though we had to sit there, we should be able to get some confidence.
All right, you're a former Bathurst winner. I know you know what it takes to win here. Good luck this afternoon, Jace.
I don't know, you know, I'm pretty sure that's breaking the regulations, pushing it backwards down the pit lane.
They've taken the opportunity here to put a new front spoiler section on the Gibson Motorsport car. This is going to cost them time. It's going to drop them right to the back of the queue. Look, they're having to re-drill to try and make it fit the damaged pickup points.
Neil Crompton in the car. Lowndes is out. They're making the most of this safety car period, Greg.
In behind those bolting points, they're having trouble making the whole thing actually sort of mesh or sort of link with its bolting point in behind there. So they're now having to fashion it. You can see how much time they are losing down here. This is such a costly stop for the Gibson Motorsport team.
I'll be interested to know what he hit, Greg, when you get a chance to catch up with Lowndes, because we saw him sneak past. This might give us insight. Oh no,
he's hit the
Bud car.
Oh.
Mark Noski.
And that's what sent them around backwards into the Aussie male elbow. Look at this, no space, nowhere to go.
Not watching where he was going.
I don't think Noski knew he was there.
No,
did not see it.
Well, you're trying to put on a pretty brave face. I know it's a tough time.
Well, it's disappointing. I went into the elbow and I was following Jason Bright, and the Budweiser car was going sort of reasonably slow. He let Jason through, but he squashed me into the wall. Unfortunately, we tagged, and you know, one of those unfortunate things.
It's the front splitter that you're changing. Is the damage any worse than that, or is it all superficial?
No, the car itself feels quite good. It's just a matter of, unfortunately, that the I didn't realise the front spoiler was that badly damaged. Like, the car was still feeling quite good.
Hard luck.
Thanks.
John Bowe, what happened with that stop?
Oh, mate, I feel like a bit of a dope. I looked down at my seatbelt buckle, and when I looked up, I obviously lost sight of that, and I saw the 500 up there, and I didn't register. So all that hard work for nothing, eh?
Well, Russell Engle making his way down pit lane. Jimmy Richards is coming in as well. Dean Canto standing by. I've just had a quick word with Marcus Ambrose. He did not want to talk to us. Right now, he is gutted.
Well, as you would imagine, this is a very important stop. Watch these boys go to work. There won't be any mistakes here. This is a very, very well-drilled team. Larry Perkins insists on perfection, and that's why he has won so many of these great races, that's for sure. 6 to that man there right on screen, and his teammate Russell Engle has done an awesome job in the opening stint.
A bit of damage on the right front wing there, just above the wheel.
Out goes Perkins. So the majority of the driver changes and stops have been completed. Our timing, just updating you on that Bud situation, from our timing monitor, Noski had made the change, and Baird is being displayed on our timing monitor. So it was Craig Baird that was in the car, and that would have been very early in his stint.
Just to give you a bit of an idea what confused John Bowe in that pit stop was this. Alan Heath's pit boom. That's a 500. Same font, same colour as John Bowe's 600 number. That's what he saw when he was coming in, and by that time he'd already overshot his pit bay.
Yeah,
easily done. Easily done when you think you see the 2 zeros. I think that sounds like me.
And it's black and yellow, like the cat colours.
They talk about this place being a place of highs and lows. What happened?
Just a dumb mistake, really. We preempted the safety car there for the Bud machine at Forest Elbow, and I just came to the pits too hot, locked up the rears, and put it in the gravel trap.
How badly damaged is it? Can you press on?
Oh, there's no damage at all. We just got a lap down, so Wayne's in the car now. He's a fighter, and hopefully he can get us a lap back and get ourselves back in the race.
Chin up, bud.
Thank you.
Boy, this is frantic now. We've just gone back under green as they jostle for positions, and Simon Wills was very aggressive in the catford.
That's normally when we see someone stick it into the fence, so keep your fingers crossed.
I was talking to Todd Kelly after the warm-up this morning, and you remember in qualifying we were all saying how he was fighting with the car and everything, and it was terrible. He said it was a horrible thing to drive. After the warm-up, he went quicker in the warm-up than he did in qualifying with full tanks, and he said the thing was great.
He is an amazing driver. He is not yet 22, and this is his 4th Bathurst. The 21-year-old from Mildura now lives in Melbourne. His younger brother Rick is competing this weekend. In fact, we saw him just make a little bit of a mistake. Actually, it was Nathan Pretty in the second car coming onto the main straight. There's the Team Kiwi entry. Of course, they are down a little way. They're not in this front. Oh, there's been a big crash. That's the Donaher Cranbrook entry.
John Faulkner.
And John Faulkner and Dulman. That is massive. That's just on top of the mountain.
What did I say about the restart, fellas? Yeah. Happens so often.
Oh, look at this. It's Romano.
Down the lines, car
look at this.
Gary Holt as well.
Dear me, that's
just erupting. Any more going to crash on this lap? This is incredible.
That's 4 cars that have been damaged on that restart. Mick Donaher. Boy, it's been an eventful day for Mick. He went off the circuit at the last corner, last lap. Romano and Kelly trying to keep that car under control. Unbelievable. And naturally, the safety car out on the circuit again for the 2nd time in a short time.
Oh, there's another one stranded. No, it's Gary Holt. I thought that might have been another car. So they've got cars, wrecks sitting all over the track. Here's one of them, the Dulman Faulkner Dynapack entry. Dynapack coming on board this weekend with the John Faulkner team. Ultra-tuned car in trouble as well. Let's have a look and see if we can piece this together on the Shell Helix replay. There's Faulkner. What happens here?
Looking back from Wayne Wakefield, and Faulkner's taken evasive action.
Oh, yeah, evasive action. Poor old Faulkner was played a part in the accident. And
he would have been caught out by that because he wouldn't have seen it coming.
Yeah, exactly. Would have been just behind, wouldn't it?
And it was Dulman that was in the car. Donaher looked like he lost that just all by himself. Now watch that. Toll car squeezes through. And look at that, one of the FTR cars has been damaged. That was Romano slamming into that. One of the Lansvale cars goes to the high side. And watch for Faulkner. Watch for Faulkner.
Oh, dear me.
Unbelievable. They almost all got through, and it was Peter Dulman behind the wheel. The 46 Faulkner Dulman entry. There's Gary Holt, he's okay. And the Romano team go into action. The Holden Young Lions entry. 2 of their team just stood on the bottom. Look at that. Looks like World Wrestling. Slamming it down.
Sledgehammer out now. See this in NASCAR racing quite often.
They can do a sledgehammer in wrestling sometimes.
They're going to try and rip this front guard off or tape it on. They've got the magic tape out now. So this car will just be taped together, try and get it back into the race. Don't go down any more positions. But it happens so often on the restart. Everyone gets all pumped up, all excited. The cars aren't up to their optimum condition. And you usually have some sort of an accident.
Look at that, you can hear someone keep us posted where the safety car is. They're trying not to go down a lap.
Yeah, what they'll try and do is send a number of teams do this before, bring him in, do a bit of work on the car, get him out before the safety car comes around. They can do that lap after lap if they have to.
We're about to go green again, and Mildura's Todd Kelly leads the way. We are back under green racing conditions. We didn't even complete a full racing lap on the last restart. This looks much cleaner.
Yeah, I just hope the guys can just settle down a bit for a couple of laps and get these cars up to peak condition before they get stuck into it. It's just such a waste when they spin off in that situation. But they're all right racing drivers. They're going to attack from the moment they get the green. So it's always a risk. If you take the chopper shot high above Mountain Straight as they thunder up toward XR8 Bend the first time. Todd Kelly in charge. Tony Longhurst. Look at this. Simon Wills.
Yeah. Well, he's on it.
Yep, up the inside of Jeff Brabham. That'll put Wills in the Caterpillar Ford up to 4th.
We ride with the Kiwi, and we welcome again our viewers via TV1 in New Zealand. Hope you're enjoying the coverage of the V8 Supercar 1000. It's certainly been plenty to talk about, and we're not yet a quarter of the way through. You can see the raindrops there on the camera lens as they climb the mountain again. This is probably the most treacherous section as they climb from around about 150 upwards of 200, 215 kilometres an hour across this section of the circuit where it is very slippery. They're still on slick tyres. No one came in to change to wets, and understandably.
Oh, we hear from pit lane that HRT have put those wet weather tyres away. Very changeable conditions here. It's going to be hard for the team managers and the tacticians to track this. It's going to be changing throughout the day. Real nightmare when you're making calls like that, which can determine the race result.
Another big mover in this field has been the Karcher. Team Kiwi locking up there. That was very nervous. They're not in this running. So they are a lap down, and they're trying to unlap themselves.
Aren't there some sleepers in this pack? Look at them. Yeah. Jeff Brabham in the Super Cheap Autos car. Tim Lay in the K&J Thermal machine. I mean, there's just so many good cars in that top 10. And some of these teams that we haven't seen in prominence before, they're looking very competitive this early in the race.
We're yet to see what young Timmy Lay can do. He only lives half an hour up the road in Orange because Paul Wheel did all that work in the opening stint to keep that car well placed. Likewise, Stephen Ellery. So Brabham and Lay, etc. Wills, they've all taken over the wheel now. The primary drivers are out, the secondary drivers are in. As we see, Tony Longhurst in the #1 car is being hassled big time by Stephen Johnson. Look at the switchback. Immediately blocked there. Now we've had an update. Simon Wills will receive a stop-go penalty, speeding in pit lane. There is the Cat Ford. He's currently in 4th position, but not for much longer.
Ouch. That's going to hurt.
Exactly.
Stop-go penalty. By the time you slow down, go along that pit lane at 40 kilometres an hour, stop and come out at 40 kg, you lose a lot of track position. There's your order. Todd Kelly doing a great job as Tony Longhurst moves up to overtake the lapped Team Kiwi Commodore being given by Jason Richards. If you can see those boxes at the bottom of your screen, the blue box determines how many pit stops they've made. So you can see there Tander and Bhagwan have already made 2 visits to pit lane.
Half the reason why Todd Kelly is in such a great position at the moment was because they actually did one of the fastest pit stops. In fact, the fastest pit stop of the last round. A 19.6-second stop for fuel, tyres and driver. Everybody else managed around the 23-second mark, except for Larry Perkins. His was a little slower at 27.3.
Well, another outstanding performance by another young driver combination. Luke Yulden and Adam Macro, both former Formula Ford national champions. They are in fact higher than the team's primary car. Larry Perkins is in 15th, Macro is in 12th. And Gardner and Larkham have combined well also. They're just outside the top 10 after starting in 18th.
That's not bad. Anthony Tratt and Alan Jones are 14th.
Yeah, going well. There's some really strong performances so far.
I think the Perkins lot got an driver the safety car, didn't they, really? That was the problem.
Well, they came in one lap behind the rest of the pack, and that put them right to the back of the... That's the whole thing with calling safety car strategy, Baz. If you've just got to do it as soon as the race director is making the decision, that's when you get the big advantage. If you leave it till late, you get stuck right at the back of the queue, and that's where Larry's found himself now. If Jason Richards doesn't get involved in any sort of race-altering incident, here is a lap car. He's showing a lot of speed. It's Tommy Gibson room. Look at this attack by Tony Longhurst right up behind the back of the Kmart car. 2 TWR Australia Commodores looking very strong at the front of the field.
Tony now 44 years old and proving that age does not mean a thing. You won't find a fitter driver. Simon Wills has gone in to perform his stop-go penalty. Let's ride with Tony. He's really enjoyed his brief time with the Holden Racing team. He was paired up with Thomas Mazira at the Queensland 500. They were denied the opportunity of repeating their efforts of winning Bathurst, like they did in 1988. By HRT splitting and separating Scaife and Bright and mixing them up for Bathurst. Now this is costly for the Cat Ford team. 2 mistakes, one from John Bow, one from Simon Wills. Bow missed his pit box, Wills speeding in pit lane. You cannot afford to make too many mistakes in the big one. It will punish you.
Tony Longhurst will be out for revenge on the mountain. He's come so close in the V8 supercar era. There's the #2 Holden Racing Team Commodore sneaks up the inside of Tim Lay in the K&J Thermal car. Simon Wills now rejoins the race, but he's gone right to the back of the pack. That's going to hurt the team.
John Cleland enjoying a positive run up front, and we've had the change of positions further back, not the front 2 of course, but Johnson moves into 3rd, or he was in 3rd I should say. Stephen Richards has moved into 4th. Brabham is now 5th. 6th is Simon Wills. He's dropped, he might drop more. Lay, Mazira, Cleland and McLean.
4 consecutive laps of 2:10s. Quite extraordinary stuff. There's Cat Racing. Oh, that's Tratt. Tratt coming into contact with Wills. Simon recovering. We hope there's not too much damage there. On the grass, trying to get back on track. It's far from clear and simple at Mount Panorama right now. Tratt, though, is in big trouble. What a drive from he in the combination with Alan Jones, but there's the damage on the right front. doesn't look too bad at this stage.
I think you'll find out it is quite bad, Billy, as they come across. Simon will have to do another lap, and it's rubbing, and he will have to slow right down and limp around before he can get back into pit lane, and just too anxious, too enthusiastic, and there will be a safety car, and that is such a shame because Anthony Tratt had just got past Larry Perkins. He was sitting in 7th position, and Simon Wills, who was just setting the track on fire. That was a little bit of a silly mistake. Let's try and tune into the team radio.
Okay, I'm really sorry, guys. The pedals just went speed up, even though the safety car's coming out. Tend to speed up. You've got to speed all the way up till you get to the pit exit.
Here's Simon Wills there saying, I'm really sorry, guys, admitting that it was his fault, but said something about the pedal. We're joined by pole sitter and now the man who was forced to watch it from the sidelines, Marcus Ambrose. What did you make of that, Marcus?
I haven't really seen it properly, so I'll wait and see. I've had a few run-ins with Tratt over the year, so he seems to be in trouble quite a bit.
Here we go, let's take a look. Wills going for the inside, and I think that was just an over-ambitious move from Simon, perhaps. That's the way it looked, and both cars were in the top 10. Here it is from a different angle. This is on board with Simon Wills. Larry Perkins is the piggy in the middle. Watch this. He goes for one and tries to make it a slingshot double move, all in the one action.
Yep. Oof. And there goes Anthony Tratt off into the kitty litter. Wills spins as well. Fortunately, he got back into the race. And we've got some more pit stops happening now. Here's car 15, Todd Kelly.
Pad change happening. The second place Shell Helix Ford, Steve Johnson in. Radicic will jump behind the wheel. Pad changes happening all over the place. This is an important one. Lap 61. And Johnson is out. Radicic is in.
Window for compulsory pad changes open on lap 48. Going to have it done by lap 120. So everyone's taking this opportunity now to get these stops done.
Marcus, this must be an enormously frustrating and anxious time. You just want to get in and get going.
Yeah, you've really got to run the safety car all day.
Just checking the time there for you. More than 35 seconds for Paul Radicic. He's behind the wheel. Steve Johnson is out. It looks like the Kmart racing team managed to do their stop a bit slicker. And Greg Murphy got out of pit lane. I'm going to keep an eye on possible pit lane infringements here for you as well. Car 8 came in just before the DJR entry. That's Adam Macro and Luke Yulden, and one of their wheel nuts rolled right into the DJR pit bay, which, as you guys know, is a big no-no.
Yeah, it is. The 34, Gary Rogers, Valvoline, Cummins, Commodore, Barguana's out, Tander's in, and a new brake pad change being executed. Compton has come in. The Ellery Brabham car has performed their stop. This is the Gibson Motorsport Falcon. Now Barguana, etc., were in the top 10, Grant.
Yeah, slightly balked on the entrance in there was Cromley. Now he's out, Lowndes is in. No pad change up here for the Gibson car. 26.5 though is the top. Oh, he's taken off with the fuel churn still in the back. That's not good. That's good. Now they're out clear.
Wills is out, John Bow is in, and they will be evaluating how much damage has been done to the Cat Ford.
Yeah, I'm not sure how heavy that impact was. It seems like these cars can't take much. It just depends on how heavy that impact was.
I'm down here at the Aussie Mail pit, and there's a lot of frantic activity going on. Brad Jones, what has happened?
John can't understand the messages, and he hasn't seen everyone else pit. He needs to come in and swap.
This could be crucial here.
We're going to drop a lot of position on the track. We need to get him in and get him out of the car.
There you have it.
That's the problem. When you don't come in when that safety car situation arises, you really pay a big penalty. If they're going to go right to the back of this queue, they're going to have to fight their way all the way back up to the top 10. That's not the way to win this race, Marcus.
No, definitely not. And, you know, this is such a hard race to win, and you can see why so much happens all day.
Well, listen, we're watching the frantic action down there in the Cat Ford pit. Let's talk about the Pertec car and yourself. What happened?
It's been a tough day, really. It was a very hot pace to begin with, and we opted to slow the car down and just run with the leaders. We pitted on our normal window. We were only 16 seconds off the lead, which is perfect, and I made a really silly error and spun out in the gravel there. I haven't done that before, so yeah, it's a tough place, and I'm just really sorry that it happened that way.
Well, I think a lot of people would appreciate your honesty in admitting your mistake, but you've got to accept too that this is your first year in V8 Supercars. There's been a lot of lessons you've had to learn this year. I'm sure you'll come back a hell of a lot stronger next year.
Yeah, this is one of the toughest ones, though, I tell you, Mark.
Yeah.
It's hard to cop.
Now the Cat Ford is back out. Thanks for your emails. They're flooding in. We've had in excess of 1,000, so apologies. We can't get to all of them. We can only get through a few. And the recent ones are being directed to you, Marcus. What do you think? Do you think this 2:10, 2:11 pace can be maintained? And this is from 3 12-year-old lads from Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, I seriously do. I think the surface has got a lot to do with the speed this year. It's going to be hard on brakes. It's going to be hard on cars. And, you know, these safety cars are going to slow things down and allow the cars to... you know, to recover almost. But it's a hot pace this year. There's no two ways about it.
We remain under caution. We are waiting to see if the Aussie male Falcon comes in. John Cleland has been out there for a little too long. Finally, he comes in, and Brad Jones will get behind the wheel. This is the Shell Helix race score for you at the moment. Stay with us. We're here at the mountain. This is a once-a-year occasion, and it's great.
This is the Aussie male stop. Bradley Jones waiting for so long to get in behind the wheel after John Cleland was unable to hear or understand the call to come into the pits just a few moments ago. This was how they did it. A lot of frustration there in the camp after a brilliant run. The best the car has been, in fact, you could argue, since this team started in V8 supercar racing. They've had a few problems getting settled in, not only to the change from 2-litre cars to the V8s, but also getting set up, this car set up, and now things were really starting to go well for them.
That's a slow stop too, and up to 40 seconds now.
So many different changes in complexion over this race, and we're still to see more drama, I'd imagine.
Oh, there's plenty more to come, Billy. The nature of this race and this place, there's the Caterpillar Ford coming back in after that damage to the front end. I think what they're going to try and do is just try and effect repairs on this car and get him out in front of the pace car each time and try and keep him on the lead lap. It's a big ask, though, because if they're going to change a control arm, it's a pretty major exercise.
Well, this has been an extraordinary race, and this category is just so competitive. The pressure mistakes that we have witnessed today have been unbelievable. The teams, the drivers are really under the pump. Like the Cat team, who enjoyed better times earlier in this race. They got as high as the race lead. John Bowe had an amazing opening stint, but then the mistakes began to happen.
The machinery is really under the pump too. This is very hard on this equipment. As I said, a lot of the safety car periods we had at Bathurst in the past has really helped to mask any reliability problems. This year's been harder. Oh no! Car 17! The Shell Helix Ford, smoke pouring from the back of it.
Unbelievable. This is Paul Radisich on board. This was a race, leading car race, challenging for the lead, right up there. It's been up there all day, and this does not look good.
Oh, can you believe it? This car came so close to winning in 1999. They finished second last year, and now a major mechanical failure on top of the hill.
The Paul Radisich, Stephen Johnson car, they had just performed their stop. Radisich is behind the wheel, and that may not even make it to the top. It is crawling.
I think he's had a major engine failure there, Marcus. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. There's something going wrong. He's got a lot of fluid under the water. Oh, yeah, definite engine. Definite engine.
That is just let go. That's going through Hell Corner, just before Hell Corner.
The safety car has left. The speed has returned to the V8 Supercar 1000. There are 12 cars on the lead lap, even though we're watching a queue right now after the resumption. Brad Jones in position 12, desperately getting back onto the end of that first lap queue after a very poorly timed pit stop. But nevertheless, they're making the most of a good situation, and a lot of race still to come. Lap 67 of 161.
Pleasing to see the sun shining across the top. And there is the combination of Kelly and Murphy. Boy, have they been strong today. Greg currently sits in second position, making his way past the Craig Harris Falcon, and coming in behind the Paul Wheel Tim Lay combination. The wind is still very strong here at Mount Panorama, and it has been all day. We are back under green.
Yeah, just look at this Stephen Richards situation. He's been out there now for 37 laps. He hasn't come in for his second stop, and he hasn't made his compulsory pad change. So somewhere along the line, the number 5 car is going to have to peel off out of his order. I thought they might have been hanging around out there for a while when there was the threat of rain. They could have got a come in and made a tyre stop when everyone else had to come in and change over to wets, but it looks like the weather's not going to help them here.
Well, expect to see him soon, because we get word that Glenn Seton is standing by in the pits, and the FTR squad has got 4 fresh tyres standing by for Stephen Richards, who has been the race leader for some time. Murphy is second, Scaife is third behind the wheel of the number 1 machine, and Greg Ritter, here we go. Richards, the race leader, peels off. It's pit stop time, and Seton is standing by.
So you don't want to be, I don't understand this. I don't know why they come in under safety car period, because now they're going to dump a stack of time. They're going to do their pad change under full green. This is really not going to work for this team. This is going to hurt them a lot.
You have to say the race is playing into the hands of the defending and current points leader, Mark Scaife. The number 1 Holden Racing Team car is performing brilliantly. The second one is further back in 7th position.
What about Greg Murphy and Tom Kelly, though? They're right up there too. Keep an eye on that Kmart Commodore. There's a lot of quality cars there. The second Shell Ford, driven by Greg Ritter and Cameron McLean's, well in contention as well. They didn't do the pad change there. So the pad change still to come for car 5. Oh, this is going to be expensive.
Just playing to make his hands by chance, so every time.
Yeah, it certainly does. Well, we've just had word that there is a stop-go penalty for car 10. That is the Gardner-Larkham car. We can only suspect that it's for speeding in pit lane. They were placed 12th when handed that penalty. This is the race-leading car, Greg Murphy, 2 times a winner here at the Mountain, and he won the last time with the guy who was just peeled off and handed over to Glenn Seton, Stephen Richards. He's won with Lowndes and Richards. Where is Lowndes, speaking of?
Back in 8th place.
Yep.
So here's the race lead. It's been on between these 2 Commodores. They've been very much the pace here. Certainly the Caterpillar Ford was blindingly fast before that one out. Now it's a battle between these 2 WR Australia-owned teams, Holden Racing Team and Kmart Racing. They're based within a stone's throw of each other in the big industrial estate in Melbourne. And even though they share the same equipment, the basic equipment, they're very different teams in terms of structure and strategy.
Just had a word to Steve Tabaldi from Mark Larkham's team. He tells me that they're going to try and keep Wayne Gardner out there as long as they possibly can before they bring him in for that stop-go. What has happened? A wheel nut has come off the car during the course of the stop and rolled into another team's pit bay. The pit lane infringement costing them a stop-go penalty.
Now look at this. Paul Wheel is fighting for survival here. He's running at a very, very good pace, but if Greg Murphy goes by, that's another lap gone. And, well, you can only say, where would Paul Wheel be if Tim Lay didn't get punted off by the Haviland Ford?
Just checking our lap charts here, Paul Wheel is on the lead lap, so if he gets overtaken by these 2, he will officially go a lap down, so he's desperately fighting to stay on the lead lap.
Down a lap.
We ride with the Kmart Commodore, Greg Murphy. He made a blinding opening stint earlier today. The onboard telemetry courtesy of Dunlop. And let's take a listen as we ride across the top of the mountain with the Murph.
And look at the road speed on the left-hand side of the screen. 200 kilometres an hour. Can you believe that?
There's a lot to play for this weekend with Greg Murphy. He's currently 6th in the championship points, and the two drivers in front of him, Johnson and Radicic, are out of this race. Just repeating, if you've just joined us, Stephen Johnson and Paul Radicic have retired from the race with a blown engine, we believe, and Murphy, the race leader, is 6th in the championship points and stands to gain the most.
Mark Larkham comes in to serve his stop-go penalty for that pit lane infringement. 40 kilometres an hour along pit lane.
Down here with Wayne Gardner, you've been watching Mark come in for the stop-go, and you're a little disappointed at the moment.
Oh, and frustrated too. You know, this race is pretty hard on everybody and the machinery, and yeah, there was a bit of a mishap. One of them, the tyre changes dropped the wheel over the line, so that's obviously cost us in the wheel change and the driver stop. So that's obviously cost us a 10-second penalty. Besides, we've got an engine problem as well. We're running on about 6 cylinders out there. It happened in my stint. And we're just trying to hang in there if they can try and work out what the problem is, whether it's an electronic problem or a fuel problem. It's something to do with fuel, because I keep switching the pumps, you know, to reserve and main all the time, and it jumps to life, then it goes back to the same problem. So it's a case of just hanging in there and, you know, I don't know, see what happens. Let's try and survive the race.
Just doing the sums there before, until that stop-go, you were one of the last cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, no, at least we're on the lead lap, but I'm not so sure what the 10-second penalty is going to do to us. But, you know, we're trying to rectify the engine and trying to stay on the lead lap. If we can do that, we're away again. You know, I actually think we're in with a chance. The car's working pretty good. But, as I said, we're going to try and fix it as the day goes on. Who knows? Chin up, Chief. Thank you.
Mark Scaife has taken over from Greg Murphy, and the reason is, you can see the windscreen wipers working there. Doesn't look so bad on top of the mountain, but as they went down Conrod Straight the previous time, there was quite substantial rain, and it swept across the main straight as well. You can see, looking at that sky, that the clouds are broken, but there are very dark clouds surrounding the Mount Panorama area. Now, a lot of the cars have pitted, but these two lead cars did not. The TWR cars at the front of the field, and that's when Scaife took Murphy. Let's have another look. This, as you can see, is on the main straight, and Murphy was still at that stage in the lead. Scaife made the move as they headed up towards the mountain. Now, behind them, all the other cars on the lead lap just about had pitted, including some of the leading Fords. You can see the steam coming off the circuit there as the sun that has been shining frequently throughout the day has left a lot of heat in this track. So we're getting all kinds of weather. There was even reports of snow. Back to the pits.
Here we go,
yeah,
back to live pictures.
Bargwanna and Tander, they have come in for some wet weather tyres. Ritter also. It's now starting to hail a little bit more down here, but it's so intermittent, the rain. Some of the crews are talking about staying out there on slicks to see whether the weather will go away. But one of the issues they're facing is on this dark track, because it's a new surface, it's darker, you can't see the damp patches, and it's catching out some of the drivers. Last year when it was a lighter grey, you could see them, but now they're running into trouble when they don't see these dark patches around the top of the mountain especially.
Well, interesting situation.
It's very minute hail that's falling in pit lane, and you can see the way the steam is rising off the hot track surface down here at the moment. This is a gamble for the teams, whether to bring the guys in or whether to leave them out. Oscar Fiorinato from Gibson Motorsport was on the radio to Craig Lowndes. A very late call. They said, stay out there, don't come in. The reason for that, Craig has consistently been the fastest driver on the circuit over the last few laps. They want to stay in touch with the lead group.
Well, there they are. There's the Gibson Motorsport Ford just coming into shot, so it's in 3rd place now. It was probably a good call to stay out on the track when some of the other guys came in for wet weather tyres. The track conditions, I mean, you've got 6.2 kilometres of bitumen here. Some bits are wet, some are dry. Very, very hard call.
I definitely would have said that to stay out on slicks because it's so windy outside here.
That was it.
But not wet enough yet, anywhere near wet enough yet for slick. And as I said, on the other side of this is blue sky.
Yeah, that's the saying. It's sprinkling everywhere. It's not wet enough to put wets on, you know. That's what I was saying, that it's so much wind here. And if you look at the sky, there's really big blue patches. So I think Bargs, they stuck on your car wet tyres. So what do you reckon?
Well, it is a big call. I mean, you arrive at the top of the mountain and this water hits the windscreen. You think, oh, here we go, this could be ugly. But obviously, not being out there, I'm not sure what the track's like up at the top of the mountain. But looking at that, it looks quite dry. Slicks would be all right there, but down the bottom here where the hail is, it's very ugly.
Brad Jones down the inside of Thomas Mazera, and that puts the Aussie male forward up into 4th position. So the order at the moment is Scaife, Murphy, Lowndes, Jones up to 4th, Mazera goes back to 5th, then it's Engle. Gee, that little sprinkle of rain just really mixed things up now, and it's been a brilliant jump up the grid now for both those teams, the Gibson Motorsport car and the Aussie male car. They've taken advantage of that situation, staying out when a lot of others went in for wets, and that's moved them right up the order.
Well, I think Russell Engle is in fact just a little further up the road in front of these guys. So Jones has in fact moved into 5th position. Mazera further behind him. And what an outstanding drive by the Aussie male Falcon. Brad Jones putting that frustration into constructive, positive work out on the circuit.
Now we hear there's some moderately heavy showers moving in from the southeast. So we could be in for some more rain. This is very, very dicey stuff, Jason Bargwanna. Very tough for the team managers to make a call on what they do.
This is perfect. This is exactly what we ordered. It worked for us last year, so we asked for it to happen again. So it is a tough call. It's very hard to make decisions. HRT tend to be a little bit more organised than everyone else in terms of their computers and so forth. They've got internet access and they know where the weather is and all that sort of thing. And following them is probably not a bad idea at the moment.
Thank you very much for your emails, courtesy of the website, www.rpmlive.tv. We've got some more for you, Jason Bargwanna. What's the best thing you like about racing at Bathurst? And that's from John and Catherine Messam of Currans Hill, New South Wales.
Well, it's pretty easy, actually. Anywhere from the start line to the finish line is pretty good, especially around this place. I mean, across the top of the mountain, driving a V8 supercar across the top of the mountain is just an amazing thing. The atmosphere, the crowd, the people, the whole event itself, it's just, there's nothing like it.
Paul Rules of Auckland in Victoria, do you double clutch or not?
Double de-clutch? No, we tend to not use the clutch at all, actually. On up changes, on down changes you use it, but
look at this.
Don't use much clutch.
Just while you're talking, Jace, look at the amount of ground that Craig Lowndes has made up on this leading Commodores.
This is an extraordinary effort, isn't it?
Closed right out on the back of them. It was a good call. A last-minute switch of tactics. Down the inside goes Craig Lowndes. Greg Murphy gives him room, and Lowndes goes up to 2nd place.
Those guys were as far back as something like 15th or 16th at one stage. Crompton did a great job in the 2nd stint for the team, and Lowndes is on a forward surge. Let's not forget, it's his first mountain experience for the Blue Oval.
Just come into the Holden Racing team just a few moments ago. They don't have the internet system up on a localised basis at the moment. They've only got a statewide map. So as a consequence, the boys down here have been ringing places like Orange Airport trying to get the latest information. Craig Lowndes' crew, meantime, Alan Heafy has spoken to him. They say that Craig is their best weather guide at the moment, and they're saying it's his call.
Well, can you believe that? Just while you were talking, Rusty, Craig Lowndes has surged through to the lead of the V8 Supercar 1000. He's carrying a lot of speed on the Gibson Motorsport car. Forced his way up the inside of Mark Scaife's Holden Racing Team Commodore. And these were the three who did our Kmart inside line running, showing you the way around Mount Panorama. Now they're showing you the way around in 1st, 2nd and 3rd place. Craig Lowndes now takes over the lead. What an incredible change of events.
All three have won this event for the Holden Racing Team, and they are in the top 3 placings. The visor down, let's get back on with the job. And this Gibson Motorsport Falcon, the brand new one, is powering on. Some more position updates for you. Further back is the other FTR Falcon of Dean Canto and Jim Richards. Dean Canto is in 6th position.
Look at the amount of speed this Gibson Motorsport car's got. He's just done a 2:23.9. Scaife a 2:27. Murphy a 2:27 as well. So a massive advantage in terms of overall grip and speed at the moment in this Gibson Motorsport car. He's just leaving them in his wake.
I've just noticed it, guys. I'm looking on the timing monitor, and Garth's actually 3 seconds like faster on the wets than these guys on slicks. So right at the moment, the wet's probably the right tyre to have, but I'm sure that'll go away pretty quick, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was surprised actually. I was just looking at just about to say the same thing. He really is. He's a lot quicker than anyone, isn't he?
It's hard to believe we're only just over halfway through the V8 Supercar 1000 in 2001 because so much has already happened. There has been, mayhem on the circuit. Well, I said so much has already happened. Safety car out.
Well, this is up just coming into the Ford cutting, and looks like the Andrew Harris car is in trouble there. Here comes race leader Craig Lowndes, picks his way through there. Here comes Murphy and Scaife. Fortunately, the Harris car has managed to get going. I think the Waihoon Salmon car is still stuck there. Will this bring out another safety car? Look how close this leading 5 or 6 cars are. They're all almost within sight of each other. Craig Lowndes pushing hard, a man on a mission. He's now clawed his way to the top. It's great strategy by Gibson Motorsport to keep the car out there. And just at that moment when the track was a little bit greasy, a little bit changeable, he had a better setup on the car than the 2 Commodores, and he was able to pounce on them and open it up. But now they've stabilised the gap, 3.3 seconds. And you can bet these 3 guys are driving the wheels off these things.
He's really on it now, Craig.
Yeah,
He's really having a go.
This is the first car to come out of the Gibson Motorsport factory. If you wish, this year, of course, the old car was an old Stone Brothers car, so they're really showcasing their talents here at Mount Panorama. They've only done 2 test sessions in the lead-up to this race meeting. It's a clear, clean battle now. Murphy's got a clear shot at Lowndes, Scaife at Murphy, and likewise Brad Jones on Scaife. The top 4, here's a replay. This is the Craig Harris car. Gets out a little wide, and that's where it all went wrong.
Craig Harris, Michael Simpson car. We're just checking who's driving the car at the moment. It is Michael Simpson, the Queenslander.
One of the rookies.
So fortunately, he was able to get back into the action. But there's Craig Lowndes, the race leader. Look at those ominous grey clouds in the background. Very hard to pick this weather. Look at Brad Jones. Can you believe the performance of this Aussie male Ford? John Cleland, you certainly know how to pick him. This is a great car to be on board this year.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, he's doing a fantastic job. He did so at Queensland as well, and unfortunately, from a 6th place, we had a sort of component failure in the car, but this just looks terrific at the minute, but it's halfway through. It's a long way to go.
Exactly.
Thank you, John. It's time to go back to work. The team are calling him out of the commentary box. Thank you very much, John Cleland. And keep those emails coming in on rpmlive.tv, because we're going to have a lot more guest commentators up here throughout the day.
You want to see how funny it was to see John Cleland saying, "Oh, I've got to go out, I've got to..." He's rushed out there so fast, you never see the new line.
Well, Fredo, not a bad debut for the new car.
That's pretty good, Greg. Really, it's a long way to go yet, but only halfway through the day yet. If you're not there the last hour, a lot to go yet. But no, the car's going well. We had a bit of a thing with the Budweiser car earlier in the race. We come back with a few, I suppose, punts we took, and we're leading now, but say still a long way to go yet.
Just looking down the top 4 on the leaderboard, this is a game of strategy and quick pit stops, and you 4 certainly seem to be doing that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, you know, you got the top teams in the front now. They're all going to be pondering, thinking what they're going to do next to try and get the jump on everyone else. It's a matter now sort of waiting to see how the pit stop strategy works out again. Hopefully we're in the right spot at the right time.
Now you're looking from an economy standpoint. There was lots of debate over whether this would be a 4-stop or a 5-stop race.
Well, right now that's blown to the weeds with the pace cars and things, Greg, and also the weather. So the matter probably everyone will do 4 stops because the weather's saved a lot of gas with the rain, and also the safety cars. So it's still a long way to go yet.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah. He's very cool, isn't he, Fred Gibson? But he's got a fantastic record here. Victory here with Greg Murphy and Stephen Richards in 1999. They backed up with a 3rd place last year with Murphy and Richards. So he has got a fantastic record, and boy, the Gibson Motorsport team know how to put together a very, very strong car.
What about his own history, Barry? He's conquered the mountain. He did it with Jim Richards, Mark Scaife. The list goes on, and you just can't buy that kind of experience.
Well, that's so. The funny thing is, when you talk to Fred, he exudes confidence. You know, you come out thinking, well, he really knows what it's all about, doesn't he?
I think he just remains very calm.
Oh, that was close.
I think this is the collision, the Shell Helix replay of the collision. Maybe they just avoid. I thought I could have squeezed through there, but maybe not.
Right in the middle of the road. Now, I was going to say, the thing that impresses me about the Gibson Motorsport team this year is their willingness to roll the dice. You know, they've been caught out a couple of times. It hasn't worked in their favour, but they're not afraid to have a go and have a gamble. If they're looking for track position, they need to do it quickly.
2nd and 3rd, Murphy and Scaife. Then it's Jones. Then it's Russell Engle. And what a performance. You can see the first FTR Falcon there coming under siege from the number 2 HRT machine. Thomas Mazira squeezes through on Dean Canto. Nice work there, but it's also tremendous driving from Dean Canto in car 6. He took over from Jim Richards and is the lead FTR AU XR8. His team boss is immediately behind in 8th position. Garth Tander maintains 9th. Ellery and Brabham still in the top 10, and great driving by Larkham and Gardner. They're still in 11th.
We've got an enormous amount of racetrack to cover here, and it can be totally different on one side to the other.
The radio communication you heard was in fact Gibson Motorsport. Neil Crompton is all suited up with his helmet on, standing by. The team are limbering up for a possible pit stop. Bear in mind, this squad have yet to do their stop for front brake pads.
Yeah, well, the brake pads, I mean, slick operations like Gibson's, I mean, the brake pad change doesn't take any longer than putting 4 tyres on fuel and driver. So if there's no problems during the stop, that shouldn't cost them any extra time. But the fact is, the longer you leave the car out there, the more brake pad wear you've got, the more the hydraulic cylinders are sticking out of the calipers, and there's always a potential for those things to jam as they try and put them back in to put the new pads in.
Seton continues to push hard and do his best. He's clawed his way back up into the top 10, and we've just had another report that bad weather is on the way.
Oh,
Look
is
at
it
that.
what? Look at that. Got another downpour on its way.
And it's raining on top of the mountain.
Okay, mate.
Teams are informing their drivers. Just be cautious is the call, and that's what they will adhere to. Garth Tander in car 34 powers on past the Rodney Forbes Parsons entry.
In 9th place. They were one of the teams that came in for wet weather tyres when the heavens opened up, but it was the wrong call. Moved away, we had sun come out. They've had to come in and make an extra stop to go back to slicks. It's a very, very brave man. He can make a call on rubber, a decisive call on rubber at that time.
And Tander will be hoping for a pace car.
That's what you're in for, you see, because you come howling up there in the dry, and then at the second you get to find out it's wet, it's wet, it's too late, you know, it's too late, and to catch it like that, it's frightening.
Well, that's a classic example of what I was talking about, how it can change so quickly. But listen to the tyres squealing and screeching for grip.
And then you go down the other side of the circuit, it's bone dry, so...
6.2 kilometres, that's why we can have varying weather conditions on varying parts. These guys are on slick tyres and fighting to keep these big 1,350 kilo monsters on the road.
How'd you fancy that, Marco? At the end of the straight here, 290 odd Ks, right-hand kink on slicks in the wet. Lovely.
Yeah. Very, very intimidating sort of place. This is Tander, he's still in 9th.
What do you reckon, mate? Wet or not?
Discussion going on at HRT. What's the call?
They're weaving their way through the slow
It's
cars.
wet enough down here. I don't know what's like up the top.
Well, it's very wet at the top.
You think it's top here?
Persistently coming down was Mark Scaife's call.
I mean, mate, if you don't think it's safe, just come in and put wets on.
Tander is continuing. He's not thinking it's wet enough up top there. This is where it's a gamble. Tander came in last time, so maybe the Valvoline team are a little gun-shy to do it again.
Oh, no, it's...
That's up on top of the mountain. I think that's just coming over McPhillamy Park. Oh, problems here for Larkham.
Is that the Gibson car?
That's Lowndes.
Lowndes is in the wall.
No.
Lowndes has gone into Forest
Look at
Elbow.
this, look at that.
On the exit to Forest Elbow. Can you believe it? The race leader.
And that is not the first time that's happened to Neil Crompton. When he and Wayne Gardner were leading before, that's exactly where they crashed out. They're going off everywhere. That's a Ricky Adello-Nash entry.
Safety car is on the circuit, not surprisingly. Now, Craig Lowndes has gone into a tyre barrier there. He hasn't hit the concrete, I don't think. He's just dislodged. Oh! Haviland car, there's going to be cars spearing off all over the place. There's still going to be a few more, I reckon.
And do you see, this is what I was saying when you're going up the mountain. If it was as wet as this when you got to the top of the mountain, you could have a horrific break.
Well, it just goes to show the Haviland car was caught out. Probably what caught Lowndes out as well. Now, Lowndes, I can't quite see there whether he's managed to back out of there, but he actually drilled the tyre wall.
Look at those. Now that is, they're going thinking, oh, well, he's going that speed, so I can go that speed, and both go off together.
No, he's still in there.
Stuck in there. Craig Lowndes in the Gibson Motorsport Ford. You're looking at your race leader, or he was the race leader, crunched into the Aussie Mail elbow.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
So, the way it is, just wheel spin.
Yes. Till someone tows me backwards, I'll be able to drive it back.
He's feeling vulnerable there.
Tander's
Problems
gone
here
off
for
as well.
Tander and Bargwana. Everyone's losing it down at the elbow. So there's cars spearing off every direction.
Well, here's a replay, a Shell Helix replay of Gibson Motorsports. Craig Lowndes, watch to the top of your screen, trying to pull it up, and crunch.
Well, that car doesn't look very badly damaged at all. Look, if he can get out, let's see the wheel spin. He just can't back the car out.
That's what he was saying. It was just spinning.
Neil Crompton, we're just watching the replay there. It looks as though he's gone in, but the main problem seems to be just backing the car out. It doesn't seem to be too bad, the damage.
No, I suspect that the forest elbow there's a lot of tyres with the rubber belt round the outside. Obviously, we can't see the front of the car, and I've not really seen what's happened, but maybe you need to rock the car sometimes to be able to engage reverse gear, so there's a problem there, but yeah, obviously disappointing and frustrating considering our pace.
Yeah, certainly it was going so well, Neil. It's a real shame for you.
It's unbelievable, Rusty. 3 times I've stood out here for a driver change when we've been leading a race thinking, oh, it'll be a beauty, and it hasn't quite worked for some reason, so maybe I just should stay inside for a while.
Hard luck. At least he's laughing, guys.
Oh, imagine the disappointment. He's used to the disappointment. Crompton's had an enormous number of disappointments at Mount Panorama. One of the fastest men ever around this daunting circuit, and luck just does not fall his way.
There is damage, so much damage down there in pit lane. This is the Haviland Ford. Matthew White, David Bernard.
You could just see a classic example.
Back on it, but give the wheels a shake in the front. And someone line up the wheel alignment, please. Just check the wheel alignment.
So there's all sorts of damage. You can hear that. People calling for wheel alignments, panel repairs, and all sorts of stuff. Just chaos erupted on Mount Panorama just a few seconds ago when the rain came down. Everyone on slick tyres. The car started to aquaplane. And we lost something like a dozen cars.
Hold the wheel straight, please, Wayne.
Larkham's out of the car. Wayne is in the car. They're asking him to hold the steering wheel straight. Grant?
Yeah, down here, despite the chaos across the top of the mountain and the incidents, the gamble is you just can't put wet tyres on. Continually, it's rewarding those who are staying on slicks. Again, it's still dry down here. So now, obviously, the Larkham and Gardner car, they're just trying to fix, it looks like a steering problem. It looks like they've bent the steering arms there. They're now about to drop and send him back out, so hopefully this is not going to put them back too far.
And again, the rain down here stops. The wind continues. Barguana is in the 34 Valvoline Cummins Commodore. He begins his second stint of the day.
Speed limit was the cry. They've already been pinged for speeding in pit lane earlier in the race. They don't want it again.
It wasn't a cry so much as a plea, was it?
Oh, they've ruptured the fuel tank here.
God.
He's hit the wall so hard. Those cars have a aircraft-grade leak-proof bladder inside the tank. But sometimes you can hit them so hard you even have a problem there.
And this has played into the hands of the Aussie male Falcon. Brad Jones has now moved up to 3rd place. It's Murphy, Scaife, Jones, Engle and Canto, top 5. This is Garth Tander. Watching the Lowndes car is off to the right-hand side on the grass. Well, that was almost...
just as well they put those tyres there.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember a few years ago when Gardner and Crompton were leading? Gardner stopped there and Larkham slammed into him. It was almost a repeat of that.
There we go, the Caterpillar Ford just disappearing out of shot. What's here? Okay, this is the moment on top with the Terry Wyhern Rod Salmon machine. Oh, wow, didn't he drill that bank?
That's a big contact.
That's a big hit.
Oh, he got him going.
He's got it going, but he's dropped, I think, 2 laps. Maybe 2, maybe 3 laps.
The wheel's stuck
in there.
Not too much damage to it.
Oh, there we go. Got a tyre rubbing down.
Straight. Steering wheel is straight. There's a lot of smoke coming in the car.
He's just saying that the steering wheel is straight, so it's obviously just pushed the front bar onto that right front wheel.
Shaking the steering.
2 laps to go, 72 laps to go.
2 laps down he is. We've just checked on our lap board, so...
Mate, it's just not Ford's track, is it?
No, it's amazing how as we said
before, it's Falcon unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. It is.
What a comeback for Team Kiwi. Jason Richards, God, it's just been such a long night for you having to rebuild that car after a crash yesterday. Now you're in such a top position.
Yes, we're in 13th place, and that's awesome. Car's not as good as it was yesterday. Well, I think we've got a dud left shock, but apart from that, hey, we're 13th, and we've come from the back of the grid. We're even worse from pit lane, and absolutely, I'm stuck for words, really. The guys have done an awesome job. They're getting a bit sleepy in the workshop. They keep nodding off, so I've got to give them a whack to keep them awake.
It really is a place for the brave at the moment, isn't this? Weather just keeps coming and going. You don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, obviously that's been something which we've been good at. Angus and I keeping out of trouble today, and it's paying off, and I think we can get into the top 10.
That'd be great to see. Good luck, and well done on the effort rebuilding the car last night too.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to TAFE and of course our crew. They've done a fantastic job.
Thanks, Jason.
How many times here at the mountain have those TAFE boys got someone out of a sticky situation? They are heroes, and Fogg and Richards will be national heroes when we go to Pukekohe for the second last round of this year's Shell Championship Series, the 9th to the 11th of November. We hear that they have pre-sold something like 31,000 tickets. That's an amazing effort.
Incredible. Steve, you said when you got out of the car you felt like you could do another sort of stint on that. That's because you had such a relaxing drive down here, didn't you?
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah, thanks for that, Bazza. Yeah, I actually had a bit of a team bonding thing, came down the bus with all the boys, and as you can imagine, I did not drink one drop of alcohol.
But that'll be rectified tonight.
No, that wasn't what you told me before.
Now listen, don't forget, we've been getting some wonderful emails in here today, and www.rpmlive.tv is the site to visit if you've got the net at home or if you're in the office or wherever you are. Send us an email, and more to the point, send Stephen Johnson an email and keep those questions rolling in. Now here's one from Stephen Hart in Bundaberg in Queensland. Stephen, do you get a lot of pressure and expectation put onto you from your father?
Mate, I don't really. I mean, he has been great this year. He's sort of kept away, not kept away, but he's done his own job, and he's kept to himself and let me do my job, and it's been fantastic. There's been no pressure this year. Obviously, there would have been if I would have been coming 20th, but it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Must have been really difficult last year when everyone was saying, oh, the only reason he got the job is because of his dad. And
yeah, it has been tough, Bazza. I mean, you know, you and I have spoken about it quite a lot, so.
There's the Caterpillar Ford into pit lane, taking advantage of this safety car period. The order: Murphy, Scaife, Brad Jones in third, Russell Engle fourth, Dean Canto fifth, Seton sixth, Jason Bright, Stephen Ellery, Jason Bargwanna in ninth, and Cameron McLean in the second shell forward is 10th.
Steve, you know, whether you're a motorcycle rider or a car driver, whatever the situation is, usually you guys don't like talking about other drivers and giving them big raps, but I'm sure that you would be very pleased and impressed with Greg Ritter.
Yeah, Greg is, you know, he's done a fantastic job. He did a great job up at Queensland Raceway as well, qualified well and raced well. He had a few problems with his back up there, but I think that was to do with the seating position, and he's doing a fantastic job here. He's a great driver, and you know, I think he's going to go a long way.
Lights are out. We are about to go green. The pace car peels off, and Greg Murphy and Mark Scaife will resume their battle, but they're about to have a Ford put some heat on them. Here we go. We're back under green. The V8 Supercar 1000, round 11 of the Shell Championship Series. Brad Jones pulls out of the draft, takes a look at Scaife, and he's got Russell Engle right on him.
And you just got to hold your breath now, because they've been under safety car for a long time, and as we've seen before, it takes a while for these tyres to come up to the right pressure and the right temperature, the drivers to get back into the groove. And this first lap or two after a restart is when they're at their most vulnerable. You usually see some sort of incident here. Hard under brakes at the end of Mountain Straight. They swing up through XR8 bend for the first time under green flag. And it's Greg Murphy in the Kmart Racing Commodore with his closest adversary, Scaife. They've been shadowing each other all day. Brad Jones in third. He's the best placed of the Fords. Russell Engle in fourth, looking menacing. Dean Canto doing a fantastic job in the FTR Ford, with Glenn Seton, the team boss, behind him. Two strong Fords there, still in contention. Jason Bright, the second of the Holden Racing Team Commodores. Then it's Ellery, still hovering around in that top 10 in the Super Cheap Autos car. Last year's champions, Bargwanna and Tander, still inside the top 10.
So far today, 19 laps under safety car period. If you've just joined us, we have Stephen Johnson, the Shell Helix Ford pilot, in the commentary box with us. What is that like, Stephen, when you've been under safety car for so long and then they finally say, righto, boys, go for it?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty difficult, actually. Like I jumped in the car after the pit stop, and Paul Radicic jumped out, and my first laps were behind the safety car pretty much, and it was a bit of a weird feeling, and it does take you quite a few laps to get into the groove of things. Like my fastest lap was nearly at the end of my stint.
Just had word that car 29, Paul Morris, will have to serve a stop-go penalty for speeding in pit lane, one of many cars that has been pinged today. So Murphy gets the hammer down, Mark Scaife in second, Jones in third as they come down Conrod Straight. Russell Engle just sitting there in fourth, well within touch. And the two FTR Falcons still looking strong in fifth and sixth position. Here's the battle for the lead. Two Commodores and a Falcon. We saw it before with Lowndes, but Lowndes ended up at the wall. Now another Ford Challenger steps up to the plate.
Steve, when you've got a full tank of fuel when you first go out, you run a lot more brake on the rear. Then as it
Murphy just missed a gear then, did you hear that?
Yeah, and Mark Scaife's taken advantage.
Scaife on the inside, this is for the lead. The HRT man will get there. Murphy didn't really want to relinquish that position, but was forced to, and Brad Jones could be a winner out of this situation as well. The Aussie male Falcon pulls alongside the Kmart Commodore, not quite close enough. We'll have to tuck back into the draft, and we'll try a slingshot up into Ford corner.
Those HRT cars, I tell you, they've got some straight line speed. I was behind those guys today, and you know, even with the problem, you couldn't get anywhere near them. They've got very fast cars today.
240 kilometres an hour at the end of Mountain Straight. Look at this, they're all over each other. Holden Racing Team now in charge. Kmart Racing in second. And if anyone had said to you on the approach to this race that Brad Jones and John Clellan were going to be the top placed forward about the 90 lap mark, you probably would have laughed at you.
Yeah, right. Considering they started 22nd position, another top charger has been Cameron McConville and Rick Bates, 21st off the grid. They are currently in 11th position. They've made up 10 places after dropping back as far as 24th. But this is Brad Jones, the multiple times Australian Super Touring Car Champion, but best known for being the Works Audi driver and possibly giving drivers like Greg Murphy and Cameron McConville a real shot at the big time.
Paul Wheel up to 12th place again now. He's been up and down a bit.
Yeah, this is an incredibly talented top 10, top 15 cars. There's so many cars in here contention.
You can actually...
Gibson Motorsport crew chief Alan Heafy has just been having a pretty long discussion with Paul Taylor, one of the Avesco officials, over this alleged incident in pit lane involving the brake pad with Gibson Motorsport. Now, what they believe may have happened is during the course of the actual stop to change the front brake pads, the pad may have gone underneath the car, and as Cromley's taken off, it's spat it down pit lane. They will cop a stop-go penalty. As yet, race control has not informed them when that stop-go will occur, but Alan's pretty confident they're going to cop one. Standing by at the Aussie Mail pit, we're waiting for Brad Jones. Just had a word to his brother Kim, the crew chief. He tells me Brad has got massive radio dramas. We knew that this morning.
Well, you got Russell Engle coming in too right now, Rusty, so he's going to be pretty busy there.
Yep, certainly is. Looks like the Kmart team on standby as well, so Greg Murphy is in as well. So this is all happening down here in pit lane.
Murphy, the race leader. Engle is in as well, so too Cameron McConville. So 3 cars within the top 11, including the race leader. And now Kelly back in for his second of 2 stints. Murphy is scheduled to do 3, Kelly 2. It's been a lot of driving from Greg Murphy. Now Engle is out of the car, Larry Perkins is in. Crucial. This is crucial stops.
That'll put Brad Jones into the lead. He didn't pit that time around. Slow, slow, slow is the word. Just watch those speeding limits. Here comes Crompton to serve his stop-go penalty.
Kmart car is out now. The Castrol car is out. What will Larry do here? Side by side.
Drag race at 40 kilometres an hour.
And now what do we do here?
Both got the speed limiters on, and the Castrol Commodore tucks in behind Crompton.
Tratt is coming in for a stop. It doesn't look like it will be a driver change, so he remains in the car. Or is it? In fact, it's Alan Jones that's in the car. Now there's the stop-go for Neil Crompton. Those guys will not believe their bad luck.
Oh, it's just incredible, isn't it? They leapfrog their way up to the...
Oh no!
Team Kiwi. Oh, going so well.
They're up to 12th.
Another safety car, we believe. So that will bunch things up. Here is the replay as to why. And that's quite a common problem at Cougar Corner. We've certainly seen that over the years.
Angus Fogg at the wheel, and unfortunately Angus was the man who backed it into the wall yesterday. So he's not having a good time at Mount Panorama.
This is your race leader, your new race leader, Brad Jones, and we saw the team getting ready before, but as Greg brought us up to date, there's problems with the radio. Will we see Brad pit this time or not?
How good is this for Brad Jones? Safety car about to come out.
As I tell you what, with Murphy and Engle pitting just now, that has played right into their hands if a safety car comes out.
I just don't know whether the safety car is coming out on the circuit. You suspect it would, but if they do, here comes Jones now into the pit lane.
No, it's maybe
so safety car signs are out. We've got a safety car on the circuit. This is really falling into the Aussie Mail team's hands. What perfect timing.
Way to go.
Unbelievable for Brad Jones and John Clellan, Greg.
Well, Lee, as I said before, they've got no radio communication. They were standing by because he was due in any time. John Clelland is here. Now, the crucial thing about the Aussie Mail team is they have yet to do their front pad stops. They're going to be doing that this time around. Brad Jones out, John Clelland getting in.
Absolutely critical stop, this one. Monroe pit stop clock shows you on the bottom left-hand of your screen how long they're taking.
Well, this is Brad Jones' 17th Bathurst. He's enormously experienced. Scaife is out, and Longhurst back in the car.
Are they doing pads, Rusty?
Yes, Mark, they're doing the front brake pads at the moment on the Aussie Mail Ford. Longhurst is heading back out of pit lane in car 1. Car 18 exits pit lane as well, so the early stoppers in terms of those brake pads paying dividends, but we are under a safety car, so it's not all bad for car 21.
Well, we haven't got the stopwatch on this. Looks like a long stop. I hope there's no problems here. We're going to lose that advantage.
They definitely had a problem with the right front.
Upwards of a minute. Look at this, 57, 58. Cleland's gone just shy of a minute. Now they are so fortunate that they were able to come in that safety car period.
Field slowing down.
They really are, because if they'd lost that amount of time under a sort of a normal period,
they'll still be kicking themselves, Baz. I mean,
Yeah.
a good pad stop should take no more than 30 seconds.
Here we go. We're underway again. By the look of it.
Yep, someone diving into the pits there, but that's one of the back runners. We have the HRT car up front, pressing hard. Here we go. We're back under green on lap 101, so 60 to go from here. Quite a few laps under safety car situation today on the mountain. We are finally back under green, and here we go yet again. Jason Bright leads them up the mountain from Jason Bargwanna and Tony Longhurst.
Todd Kelly's the next in the line. Greg Ritter and the sole remaining Shell Ford. Stephen Richards, Larry Perkins back in the Castrol Commodore. John Cleland back in the Aussie Mail Ford. Jim Richards and Jeff Brabham. And Super Cheap Autos cars just hovering around in the top 10 all day. Dickinson and Team Kiwi car in for its compulsory pad change. Miraculous that the TAFE repair team and the Kiwi team got that car going at all after that big shunt yesterday. Come across the top of the mountain, Jason Bright, Jason Bargwanna. Isn't that incredible the way the Valvoline Cummins team just keep rising to the top here? They did it last year, they're looking strong here this year.
Stephen Johnson, thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box, and hard luck about today, and best of luck in the final 2 rounds of the Shell Championship Series.
Thanks, guys. I probably would have preferred to be talking to you on the track like Neil, but unfortunately I'm up here. But you know, maybe next year.
There is still one Shell Helix car remaining on the circuit, and as Stephen steps out, in just a few moments' time, we'll be talking with Castrol Holden driver Russell Engle, and they are still very much in contention. Larry Perkins is running in 7th.
See you in the bar, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Baz.
Incredible performance from the Valvoline Cummins team. Working their way up there. They've had a terrible season in the Shell Championship Series. Really have been struggling to get a good setup on the car. They've worked very, very hard to focus on trying to repeat that performance at Mount Panorama that they put in last year. Look at this. The cream continues to rise to the surface when the chips are down. This team has been able to dig deep. Garth Tander and Jason Bargwanna, they're sporting a little bit of battle damage, but nothing that's going to slow them down. Strong, consistent performance. They find themselves up in the top 3.
Well, they've endured a very frustrating year, and both drivers remarked when they pulled the car out of the truck this weekend, it just seemed to work right from the get-go. And Bargwanna looking in the mirrors at the Cat Ford, but that Cat Ford at the moment is certainly no threat. It is a lot further down the order. Another Falcon doing a good job is the Ellery Brabham machine, right back there in 10th position, working their way up.
Here it is. Kelly moving up.
Great move by the 21-year-old Todd Kelly, who continues to impress on the mountain. It's only his 4th visit here. A 5th place last year was his best effort, and he continues to go from strength to strength. This is your race leader, Jason Bright, in the HRT Commodore.
I'll tell you one thing, Jason Bright and Jason Bargwanna will be hoping for a few more safety cars. Just in doing our sums on this, a lot of those other guys who came in for that recent stop, about lap 100, they'll be able to go through to the finish with one more stop. But I'm just thinking, it's going to leave Bright and Bargwanna. They pitted on lap 87, so that would have left them with about 74 laps to go to the finish. So that's a bit marginal if they're going to run full green. They really need a few more safety car periods if they're going to get away with one stop as well. And even that's going to be close.
And for, I don't know how many times, the weather has changed yet again.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful on top of the mountain. It's just been the most bizarre day weather-wise. Look at this. The FTR Falcon of Glenn Seton is starting to put the pressure on Tony Longhurst across the top of the mountain. And Stephen Richards on board the number 5 machine. The driver change has occurred, and Richards, who we saw impress very much so in his original stint today, he did a great job before handing back to Glenn Seton. He's on it again and putting the pressure right on the number 1 HRT car.
Well, out of those top 3, Todd Kelly's looking very good because he came independent. Here comes the move. Gives him room. And So Bright and Bargwanna, they're just a little bit out of sequence on the fuel stop. They're going to stretch it too far. Tony Longhurst, Stephen Richards is looking very good too because they pitted on lap 100.
Russ, around here, there's not many braking markers, you know, when you come down the hill or whatever. What do you use for a braking mark?
Yeah, since they resurfaced the circuit, a lot of the original braking markers you got to know over the years have just all gone. And most of the time you're just going by feel nowadays. I mean, and just picking out a tree or a piece of paper and just hoping it doesn't move.
Then you come in and, yeah, oh, that little flower pot will do, then somebody's moved 150 yards further down the next.
Richo's doing a really good job in that thing. I mean, he's going really well. It actually surprised me that he actually didn't start the race. Just to be quite honest, I think in race pace he's been a lot quicker than Glenn. I can't understand why he didn't start it.
Russell, when we saw Stephen Richards there pressure the HRT Commodore of Tony Longhurst, notice today they seem to be very, very interested not only in fuel conservation but preservation of the machine. They're not challenging on overtaking manoeuvres. You made a couple on them. They seem not to be very interested in getting involved in any conflict.
I'm not sure whether they're trying to save the brakes a bit as well, because they're braking quite a bit early. Our thing's pretty good under brakes, and where I've got Scafie both times, but they seem to be braking very early, so I'm not sure whether they're just playing a bit of a waiting game. Conserve, like you said, Lee, conserving a bit of equipment and ready for the rush at the end, because I tell you what, the last stint is going to be for young and old.
Just quickly before you go, because we know that you have to head back down, Dean Holland of Richmond in New South Wales wants to know, Russell, do you think this should be a part of the championship or a standalone race?
Depends how he does today.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I mean, to be quite honest, I always was the opinion when it first was a part of the championship, it would be a good idea, but then I went back the other way. But for commercial reasons, and Tony Cochran from Invesco explained exactly why Bathurst has to be part of the championship, and it is purely commercial to give the championship sponsor great value for money for the year, and that's why it is part of the championship.
Oh, the Larkham Gardner Falcon is up against the wall.
Yeah, having a terrible day. They're a long, long, long way down the order. But now they're stranded there at the forward cutting.
Oh, front right.
Got a puncture big time.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Didn't hit too hard.
That's right. Better luck for Larkham. Just have another look at that from another angle.
There's nothing you can do about that.
Safety car is on the circuit as we expected. So
imagine you'll see maybe Bright and Bargwanna come here. There's Brighty in the pits. I think he's coming in now. So it's pretty fortuitous for him to get another safety car to be able to pit, because he'll be right in the pack there and right back in the race too.
Well, that gets him back into sequence. We're just looking at the stops. You know, they pitted on 87, so they were a bit marginal on fuel, but now this will get them right back into the game.
Yeah, this has been good for them.
Yep.
Fuel spilling out there. It's time for the number 2 machine to go.
It's just pouring out of the overflow on the dry brake system. Hopefully for them anyway.
Yeah. Thomas Mazira back in the car. Thomas has driven very well, Greg.
Yeah, well, I mean, both Tony Longhurst and Thomas have driven unbelievably well, and I think that's testament to the fact that they have been doing a fair few miles this year, and proves that their knowledge of the circuit is pretty good too. So HRT got a couple of good co-drivers there.
How is the level of competition between the Kmart team and the HRT squad?
Well, I mean, definitely the rules are do not touch each other, but other than that, you know, it's just we're out there to do our jobs and for our sponsors, so we are very separate. But obviously, as a TWR team, we don't want to be knocking each other off, otherwise the boss will be pretty angry with us.
Something going on down
there. I think there's something. They broke a steering arm earlier on when Dumbrell turned him around, and I think that must be still something to do with that.
And that's Stephen, of course. Jason Bargwanna in third, ahead of Longhurst, Ritter, Perkins, Cleland, Mazira, Jim Richards, and Jeff Brabham, making up the top 10.
Lead change. Stephen Richards now takes the lead yet again in the FCR AU XR8. That was a very impressive manoeuvre right around the outside.
Sure was.
I wasn't very happy about it.
Greg Murphy is our co-commentator, and he's sharing that Kmart Commodore that's been at the front or near the front all day, well in contention for a victory here. Nervously watching on at his teammate Todd Kelly.
Don't know what Richo's thinking. It's like, didn't he know it was my car? He shouldn't have passed me.
Kiwi doesn't run that long. Over the McPhillamy Park, down the field, getting back up to full speed. You can see the green flags waving. And Todd Kelly just lost that position to Stephen Richards, charging hard in the FTR Falcon, rising to the top of the bubble now as one of the strongest Fords in the field.
ever the marketing man. Gary Rogers has just taken off about 4 layers of clothing to look after the sponsor down here, but you're not taking off the beanie, are you?
No way, Gregory, it's freezing, bloody freezing.
What about this race?
Very, very interesting race, and it's not over yet. As you can see, as we're speaking now, the rain's starting to come again, and look, anything is going to happen here in these next 40-odd laps.
It's been so amazing, hasn't it? Because you guys earlier today came in, you were one of the first to go to wet weather tyres. It was a gamble at that time which didn't pay off, but now it's a bit of a different story.
Yes, I made a bad call to be quite honest, but it's turned out we're back in there. And I think going by what's appearing in the sky here, I think the same sort of decision might have to be made.
Fingers crossed. You're always in good contact with the man upstairs, aren't you?
Oh, my word, and I thank him very much. And I'll thank him more if he gets us over the line this time.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Greg.
Top 10 cars are on the lead lap. This has been an amazing race, and as Gary Rogers said, it is far from over. The weather conditions have been so unpredictable. And Greg Murphy, as we watch here a challenge from the Castrol Commodore, we've got an email from Matt Bender from Higgins in the ACT. What's it like when it's raining up top but not down below?
Bloody scary. Before, when the hail came down, it was just treacherous as, and you just don't know how fast you can go, and especially when you're on slick. So you've just got to play it your way and do what feels best. But it's obviously when it's dry, you've got to go as fast as you possibly can, and then when it's wet, you've got to really be very, very careful.
Greg Ritter charges through on the inside of Jason Bargwanna. So Ritter now goes to 3rd place, charging hard in the sole remaining Shell Helix Falcon. So Stephen Richards leading this one for FTR. Then it's Todd Kelly in the Kmart machine. Ritter just takes over 3rd place from Bargwanna. Barg's back to 4th. Tony Longhurst in 5th. Then it's Perkins, Cleland, Mazzera, Jim Richards and Jeff Brabham.
We thank you very much, Greg Murphy, for coming on up, and we wish you the best for the rest of this race.
Thanks, mate, and I'd just like to say hi to everyone back home in New Zealand and the family, and hopefully they're enjoying this race, and we'll see them on the podium at the end.
I'm sure they are. Thanks, Murph.
Thanks, mate.
Best of luck. Greg Murphy really in contention for this one. Look at these great shots from aboard the Castrol Commodore. Riding with Larry Perkins, the veteran, 6 times winner of the Mountain Classic. He wants a 7. And he's well in contention this afternoon. This is going to be one heck of a finish. Imagine how close it's going to be if there's this many cars surviving at the end.
10 cars on the lead lap. It is extraordinary. This is one of the best finishes, if not the best finish we've seen. We're still a long way to go, but it's just been an amazing day's racing on the mountain. Let's listen to Larry down Conrod.
Chevrolet V8 as Larry Perkins closes in on the back of Tony Longhurst. Car 1, the car in contention for the championship. So is his co-driver Russell Engle. There's a massive amount of points on offer here. Not only competing for the Mount Panorama crown, but also to stay in contention for the Shell Championship Series. Enormous pressure for these drivers and crews.
And if Larry can do anything to help his teammate, he will. Now, here's a special camera shot. Watch this. We're going to zoom in to that Motec onboard system down onto the panel. Watching Larry hard at work.
Stephen Richards, he's just done a really quick one, a 2:11.83 for the race leader, 2:11.94. And just joining us in commentary is Mark Larkin. Mark, maybe you could explain what Larry's looking at on the dash there.
Well, one thing he's certainly not looking at is the speed, because it'll frighten the hell out of you. One of the things, primarily be looking at the RPMs, and really the great thing about that Motec there is that you don't have to actually focus on it like a gauge. What you really do is focus on the road, and there's alarm lights there. If there's a problem, you can then look at the computer screen and know what the problem is.
Talk us around it, Mark. Talk us around the various things on the screen.
Well, on the left-hand side there, he obviously does have wheel speed up. On the right-hand side will be his lap time, or predicted lap time by the look of that. On the bottom, I'm not sure what Larry's got there. He's got EX. I'm not sure what. He's probably up to some sort of trick there. Might be exterminate. Might be something to do with the guy in front of it.
It just goes to show how many different maps there are for these dashboards, Mark. The driver can look at a whole lot of different information, can't he?
You'll have a button on the steering wheel called Pages, and you can scroll through probably half a dozen pages, and each page has probably 20 parameters.
The great thing is with the lights, and that you don't have to watch the rev counter anymore, and just, you know, the sort of white, red,
Bargwanna's under pressure. Tony Longhurst pulls out of the draft and goes straight past the Gary Rogers Valvoline Commodore. So Longhurst moves up one position higher. He has driven brilliantly today. So too his teammate Thomas Mazira, the two older drivers in their, well, certainly Tony's 44 years of age, but proving that's got nothing to do with it. Boy, he's driven well the two Enduros at the Queensland 500 and really revelling in the conditions here at Mount Panorama. Bargwanna has got a real battle on his hands.
Stephen Richards is pushing hard. Look at 2:11.95 for the race leader. Kelly's gone underneath that at 2:11.6, 2:11.5 for Greg Ritter. How fast is this at this length of the race? What, 115 laps gone, Larko? Can you believe the pace?
Yeah, I would have thought maybe 12s, but that is a hot pace at this time. And I tell you, the last 20 laps, I mean, it's going to get hard, that last driving stint. These guys are going to be dehydrated. It's been a tough day out there, and if this pace maintains, it's going to be hard.
Bargwanna under attack from the Castrol Commodore. Larry sneaks up the inside, so Bargs drops another position, and he just gives him a bit of a love tap as he goes through.
So Perkins up to 5, Bargwanna back to 6, Cleland's a little further back down the road, then Mazira, then Jeff Brabham, and the rounding out the top 10 is Jim Richards in the second of the FTR Falcons. His son is 9 positions higher up the road, further up the road, leading the way in the number 5 machine. How must Glenn Seton be feeling now? He has never won at Bathurst. This is pressure cooker time.
Well, Mazira's just past Cleland, so both Holden Racing Team Commodores moving up. Isn't Stephen Richards a good operator around Mount Panorama, Mark? It's just amazing up here.
He is, mate. It's, if Steve takes this one away, I mean, that's 3 times in recent years. That's a big, big effort. But again, as I say, it's going to be hard. These guys are racing probably harder than you normally would, but we all know that this last pace car that comes, and I'm sure it will be the one where you really start to fight for position. That's after that the true race is on.
Well, Stephen Richards is throwing down the gauntlet. He's punching out laps in the 2-minute 11-second zone. 29-year-old from Auckland in New Zealand, just down in Melbourne with his wife Angela and the 2 kids, and he's had an amazingly successful career for a man who's still under 30 years of age. 2 times Bathurst winner, Australian Formula 4 champion back in 1994. He also did a stint in the UK in the British Touring Car Championship Nissan squad. This guy with an enormous amount of experience. He comes from an engineering background, so he really understands the car as well. Enormously talented and useful driver to have on any team.
And if he should take this race away, not only would it be Glenn Seton,
this place, Stephen Richards, phenomenal driver, teamed up with Glenn Seton, and they're a class act at the moment. This brand new FTR Ford, with the fact that they've turned up with a brand new car, smack the difference at Bathurst. Here's problems here for the Castrol Ford. We're going to have a safety car out here, and we're going to bunch the field up once again. He's well and truly smacked the concrete wall. Look at the damage on the front of the car. Harris and Simpson, one of the sole surviving cars from the Konica entries. So here comes Stephen Richards, trying to catch up to the safety car. Leading this one, Todd Kelly in second, Greg Ritter in third. Just be amazed to see people are trying to slap contracts on Greg Ritter. Man, he's just been in obscurity since he won the Formula 4 title.
Yeah.
His own safety car.
Been snapped up by a leading team and been able to show what he can really do.
I said to him at the Queensland 500, I said, oh, great to see you again, Greg. You know, what's been happening? What are you doing Monday to Friday? Because he's a plasterer by trade. And he said, oh, I'm just doing bits and bobs. I'm doing some plastering. I'm helping my brother Michael Ritter, who prepares Formula Fords. He said, I'm just doing whatever, you know, past the time go by. Dick Johnson's given him a call, said, how would you like to drive in the 2 end-of-year Enduros? And he has done nothing but solidly impress. Another email for you, Mark Larkham, from Samantha Brooking of Cairns in Queensland. If you could have any co-driver, past or present, who would it be?
Oh, gee, you've put me on the spot there, I guess. Looking at present form out there, you'd have to say Richard to do well for a co-driver today, wouldn't he? He's all round. I mean, and having said that, though, Wayne Gardner's done a great job for us this weekend. I think Richard's going to be a lot like his old man. He's just going to be an all-round good operator.
What about one of the legends, Brock, Johnson, Moffat?
Well, I'm a Dick fan from way back, you know, and hard to go past Dick here, isn't it?
Sure. As they come down, the lights on the pace car have been switched off. We are about to go green again. Stephen Ellery in the Super Cheap Autos car. In fact, sorry, it's Jeff Brabham. What a performance from these two guys. Jeff, who is, we were ribbing him about it yesterday, he's nearing his 50th birthday. He's such a relaxed guy at the moment, the thumbs up, really enjoying himself. He's spending a lot of time with his wife Rosina and son Matthew. He's teaching Matthew how to go-kart at the moment. He's getting his son into racing, and he said it was his idea to get involved, not Jeff's. So He's really going well, and this guy has done some amazing things. Winston Cup Racing, Indianapolis, IROC, IMSA Sports Cars, just the most talented and well-credentialed guy. 91 IndyCar starts. I mean, the list goes on of his international achievements, and he's so laid back about it. He doesn't push his own wheelbarrow. He just gets on with it. He's really been enjoying racing with Steve Ellery. It's time to go green. The pace car pulls off, and we are going again. This is green. The V8 Supercar 1000 is back under race conditions.
Look at him go. Full speed ahead now for Stephen Richards. He really has been setting the pace in that last sector before the safety car. Flying in the new FTR Ford. Todd Kelly still in second. Then it's Greg Ritter doing a great job in the Shell Ford. Tony Longhurst, Larry Perkins, Jason Barguana. Look at the field as they fly up Mountain Straight once again, getting back to full race speed. We go to the chopper shot. Todd Kelly challenges under brakes to our race leader. Look at Greg Ritter getting a sniff of the lead in this Shell Ford.
Very impressive driving by Greg Ritter. He is in the most pressurised situation of his very short V8 Supercar career, that's for sure. Look who he's got behind. He's got Tony Longhurst, a former Bathurst winner, and a man who is steeped in supercar history right on his hammer behind him. He's got Larry Perkins, a 6-time champion. He's sandwiched in amongst stars, and he's holding his own.
Down through Reed Park. Just see the puff of smoke there. I've watched that on the Castrol car a number of times during the day. It seems that when he drops down into the dip there, the car gets so loaded up the tyres actually rub on the guards, I think.
Just in that place first every lap, isn't it?
Just goes to show how torturous this track is. There's a bit of a oil mist or something coming out of the back of the Castrol car. We'll keep an eye on that. There's a bit of an oil film there. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Might just be a little bit of excess oil.
Bluey, didn't it?
Keep an eye on that one.
Tense situation, Mark Larkham.
It is, mate. I'm really looking forward to this next round of pit stops, which is probably, what, 7 or 8 laps away. And I think once they're out of the way, this is just a sprint race. Nothing more, nothing less.
Absolutely. Look at the speed of this FTR Falcon. It's been fast all week. From the moment they dropped it on the ground, like Glenn's gone public in the specialist press saying he's never had such a fantastic car, so responsive to changes and so fast. So they've done a terrific job on it so far. It's got to last the distance, though. 161 laps, a long way around Mount Panorama.
Well, we're getting reports from the pit lane that Garth Tander is jumping up and down and almost shadow boxing, just getting himself revved up. There he is, the lanky lad from Western Australia. He now lives in Melbourne and raring to go. The defending champion, Jason Barguana, will hand the car over. Here he comes. Top of your screen, Barguana has done what he has been asked to do, and now it's time for Tander to take over the number 34 Valvoline Cummins Commodore and take this baby home.
Hopefully it's a nice quick stop. This is going to put them out of sequence because there's going to be a whole lot of rash of cars coming in about 6 or 7 laps time, I'd imagine. So we'll be able to leapfrog them if there's no safety car situation.
I can tell you guys, I was on the end of some of that shadow boxing from Garth Tander as he came out. He's all pumped up about this final stint. Jason Barguana is out. A little bit of a drama for Garth getting away here. Now they've gone for slicks. They've gone for slicks, but it's a little sort of wet looking up above. We've got Jason Barguana with us. Give us your thoughts, mate.
Yeah, mate, we were trying to hang out for another lap. We would have made it, hopefully it'll make the end on one more stop now. Well, that's the last stop, so
you're concerned about economy?
Good, but yeah, wait and see.
You're concerned about the economy then?
Oh, look, you know, you've got to do everything you can. Every lap counts, and we're right on the edge, and who knows? I mean, it's going to be very close, but I think we can get there.
Look, you know how tough it was to win last year. What was it like? What's it been like this year?
Yeah, it's pretty hard. We were trying to, I was trying to short shift for that last part of that session, trying to conserve fuel as much as possible to try and make it so we can do only that one more stop. So lap times weren't quite there. Lost a bit in the straight line, but yeah, we're right there, and hopefully we can be there right at the end.
Thanks, Jason. Couple of sprinkles in pit lane, guys.
Yeah, we see the windscreen wipers going on top of the mountain, Greg. Everyone's on slick tyres.
If they filled up then, Mark, could they get to the end if there was no pace car?
No, I don't think so. But what they'd be hoping for, one or two things, another pace car. Exactly what's happening now is wet,
rain.
And I think that'll tip them over the edge. They should make it if this is wet.
It's raining, of course. The reason why that is the cars slow down. They get better fuel economy. There's all sorts of things being thrown at these drivers and teams. Just mind-numbing stuff.
As long as they haven't changed, Garth didn't change at the wrong time again. I mean, before, didn't they? They were wets on, and now they've gone out with slicks on. It could absolutely precipitate down, couldn't it?
Larry Perkins has got past Tony Longhurst. Perkins moves up into fourth. I was talking to Larry at length a couple of days ago, and can you believe it? He said, I'm happy to hang up my helmet next year if I can find a suitable replacement. He said, I've been unable to find a suitable replacement. He said, I'm just about at the end of it. He said, I've kind of had enough. I've had a bit of an unlucky year. That's not to say he won't be back at the mountain, but I think as a regular Shell Series competitor, he said he's just about had enough. He'll go around again if he can't get anyone good enough to replace him. So there you have it. Some interesting news about Larry Perkins.
Here they come up mountain straight. The charge continues. Oh, look at the road getting greasy here. We may have some problems, these cars. You can see the amount of lock they had on the front. The cars severely understeering as they tried to get the nose into the apex of the corner.
This is where it can all come undone. A whole hard day's work and months of preparation, and
cannot explain enough just how difficult this circumstance is here. I mean, 5 k's an hour too quick, you're in the wall, but you don't want to give away anything at this part of the race.
I was saying earlier on, as you come over the crest of the hill at the top there, it could be soaking wet, and by the time you get to find out it is, it's too late.
Well, you saw what happened to Lowndes and I at the elbow there. So.
All of these front runners yet to pit. Stephen Richards, the race leader, will pit. He may hand over to Glenn Seton, or he could double stint. The next car in the line, Todd Kelly, will pit and hand over to Greg Murphy. Look at Larry Perkins all over Greg Ritter at the back of the pack, and you'd have to say that Ritter could be a contender to take over Larry's drive if Perkins would want him.
Exactly the same thing, actually.
Well, Larry's doing a terrific job. You saw him sneak past Longhurst before, and then left Longhurst long way behind now. There's Longhurst just out of view, and here comes Larry Perkins applying the thumb screws to Greg Ritter. Just gets a little bit sideways as it shows how slippery the conditions are. Greg Ritter under enormous pressure here, and this may be what we were talking about earlier in the day. Larry now starting to throw his trump cards on the table, showing the speed of the Castrol Holden when it counts.
Well, the gloves are off now. It is going to be a sprint from this final stop. Look at the front. Here we go. Kelly's back in the lead. Todd Kelly in the Kmart Commodore is back with a clear track ahead. Stephen Richards back in second. Does that mean Richards is about to pit? We'll wait and see. Lap 126 of 161. We are running out of time in the V8 Supercar 1000. Perkins still applying the blowtorch to the back of Greg Ritter, and he's sustaining that pressure.
So you're talking about, we don't talk about parity between Ford and Holden much anymore, Mark Larkin, but looking at the performance of these two makes, you couldn't get it closer than this.
Well, Mark, isn't it a great thing that we don't talk about anymore?
Oh, fantastic.
What you're looking at here, though, is Larry's years of experience, I think, is really coming to the fore here, and he's putting the pressure on young Ritter.
Did he go or did...
No, he's all right. He had a bit of a moment exiting that corner, got up on the curb. Larry saw it, ducked to the left, took advantage. So now he's going to be in third place. Larry Perkins, the veteran, he's got his foot down.
Todd Kelly leading with Larry Perkins zeroing in on the back and Stephen Richards running third. This was just remarkable. They exited the Aussie Mail elbow and came down Conrod Straight. Now watch the Castrol Commodore. Larry Perkins begins to reel the youngster in. Here he comes, the 6 times winner, and he says, I've got you. On the outside, but Kelly held his own. They went side by side through the kick. Perkins tried to outbrake him. Then Kelly responded.
Watch them wet.
Off went Richards, off went Kelly. Kelly spun, trying to get back onto the circuit. Perkins took the lead, and then all hell broke loose. Watch in the background as the Cat Ford goes off, and then the number 2 HRT Commodore of Jason Bright. They were scattering like flies. There was another one still to come, and that was the Toll IPEC Ford. Unbelievable. We believe the report was there was a patch of hail only in around the chase.
Now, a lot of cars are coming in for that final stop. They've taken advantage of the safety car period, and here it is, Larry Perkins. The amount of speed the veteran was showing. Now, apparently, Larry had a bit of a crash coming into the pit lane entry, and look at the damage on the front of the car. So hopefully they can get the guard away from the tyre and get him back into the race.
Yes, guys, the front of the car is an absolute mess. Would you believe it? He inherited the lead, come into pit lane and had an accident. Now, the front of the car is quite dashed. They're trying to push the guard off the front wheel. Now they'll go out. The crew reacted very well. Now, this is the time when things must go right for Larry Perkins if he's going to win this race.
Well, Larry's dug deep. Let's have a look at the replay of what happened. Well, the road was slippery, and
voila.
Woof. Look at all these cars coming in now.
Seto's car in there now.
Yep. So Stephen Richards will come in and hand over to Glenn Seton, will he? Not sure whether he'll exceed his maximum time behind the wheel if he doesn't.
Kmart car is in as well. This is 15. Greg Murphy will take over from Todd Kelly. This is going to be frantic times down there. The FTR team go to work, Greg.
All they're doing, they've had a word to Stephen on the radio. They said, Steve, we'll only keep you as long as we need to. Green tyres and fuel only, and you'll be gone. Car 15 is also in. It looks like a very similar scenario down at Kmart Racing.
Well, that's going to hurt him coming in late, because that's going to put him way down the queue. Oh, boy. Steve Richards can stay in and drive to the flag.
Reset your fuel. 3 seconds on the button, please. 3 seconds on the button.
The Kmart car is out. I don't know if either guys, our guys in the pits, did you see if Greg Murphy got in? Did they execute a driver change or not?
Just down here in pit lane for you, Greg Murphy is behind the wheel, Todd Kelly is not. So Murphy is behind the wheel of the Kmart Commodore.
So Richard stays, Seton did not get in the car, and Greg Murphy is back on board the Kmart Commodore for a thrilling end to the 2001 V8 Supercar 1000. Mark Larkham, extraordinary scenes.
Well, you did right there, Marco. So both those teams came in late, and once you get in the queue and then come in, it's very, very costly.
Your bars and bias, mate. Your bars and bias.
Telling him to adjust his anti-roll bars and his brake bias. Now they've got more fuel on board and new tyres. They've got to reset the chassis up.
Such a hard call, though, Mark, because they're right on the edge of the fuel window, and I think Seton was probably sticking to exactly what he said. He was going to stay with his fuel window, and let's hope that pays off for him.
Well, he's done that. The Fords are known to be more thirsty than the Commodores. Let's have a look at this incident again. This is from the back of Todd Kelly's car.
Oh, look at that.
Todd tried to get it back onto the bitumen, but then he just lost it as the car came over the curbs. Very lucky not to get T-boned by the following cars. Absolute mayhem.
And if you need proof, as we watch from another angle, this is on board Larry Perkins looking out the side. He thought he may have had enough to get Todd Kelly. It came down to a braking duel. He pulled up alongside the 21-year-old, and Kelly did a good job under brakes. Larry decided to pull in and was very fortunate not to get hit from behind. Watch out to the right. Stephen Richards goes off. Todd Kelly goes off, and Larry says thanks very much.
I think you'll find that Larry's, when he was braking, he saw the wet at the end of the road and just gave up. Well, gave into. Whoa, dear me!
See how close that
was? Could have been one of the 1/6.
Yeah, good job from Stephen. Well done.
Yeah, really
the 2 times Bathurst winner. And if you need proof that experience and patience pays off, from 31st on the grid, Steve Reed and Trevor Ashby have broken into the top 10 for the first time on lap 129. Grant?
More decision-making going on down here in the Castrol team, whether they bring Russell back in to put a new front bar on. The question is, well, first of all, it's bad, there's no aerodynamics. And second is, will they get another one back on, because it's quite crunched in the front. They could waste time coming in here to try and fix another one on when it just won't fit. So at the moment, he will stay out and persevere with what he's got.
So we're under safety with 30 laps to go. This will be a very interesting sprint race all the way home. What about that Aussie Male Falcon? A great performance by it and a number of other cars. The V8 Supercar 1000, and look at this, Cameron McLean pulling out of the draft of Mark Scaife. This is the battle for the race lead, Ford versus Holden. Look at McLean squeezing Scaife, and he goes into the #1 position.
Fantastic move by Cameron McLean, really bolted in the remaining Shell Ford. Great driving by both McLean and Ritter today. We saw Radicic and Johnson go out early, but these two have really flown the flag. They're in race contention here. Here's Mark Scaife in second place, Canto in third. Done a brilliant job with Jimmy Richards in the FTR Falcon. Brad Jones in fourth, Stephen Ellery. Look at the quality in this top 10.
The car in front on the road is Paul Morris, and he is currently in 10th position. That is not your race leader, but Paul is on the lead lap. So here we go. McLean in the Shell Helix Ford. Boy, did it have some grunt up Mountain Straight. Scaife sits in second. They have been incredibly strong today. He and Longhurst and Brad Jones. The combination of he and Cleland. Boy, has that been impressive today as well. The Aussie Male Falcon has run very, very strongly. We ride with Mark Scaife. Let's take a listen.
We saw the Big Kev car get involved in an incident last year with the leaders. Hopefully it won't get involved this year. Here they come. Cameron McLean trying to find a way around the Big Kev Commodore. Mark Scaife in behind. Dean Canto, Brad Jones, Stephen Ellery, Russell Engle, Stephen Richards, Greg Murphy, Garth Tander and Paul Morris. That's your top 10. And problems here for the Gibson Motorsport Falcon. Smoke belching from that front right wheel. So they really have had a troublesome run. Not destined to win the race today. Neil Crompton and Craig Lowndes
Here's a replay of the incident. This is the super cheap auto car. The Gibson Motorsport car up front.
Steve Ellery just decided to give me a nice couple of nudges in the rear end, and I've hit the wall with the nose of the car.
Well, what Steve was doing up there, that part of the circuit, but the Gibson Motorsport cars paid the price. Big crunch there for Craig Lowndes. Got to try and limp it back to pit lane.
It'll be interesting to see what the outcome is with Ellery's car as well. It's on up front because Jones is applying the pressure to Scaife, and Canto is lining up as well. What an impressive drive by young Dean Canto.
He's a fantastic, the first Konica Series winner. If you want proof of how well the Konica Series works as a feeder category, you need look no further than Dean Canto. What a brilliant drive in the FTR Ford team with Jimmy Richards. They've been consistent and fast all day, and now they're in contention for victory in the V8 Supercar 1000 at Bathurst. What a race.
He applies the pressure to Brad Jones. Now, apparently the blue flags are being displayed to Paul Morris to say you've got a faster driver behind. Just move aside and let the race leader come on through. But Paul is fighting to stay on the lead lap. This is the view back from Mark Scaife's Holden Racing Team Commodore.
Scaife beautifully positioned here, not only for a race victory, but to really boost his championship chances. As Lowndes heads into pit lane.
Well, what a really sophisticated race, a very sensible race Scaife and Longhurst and the team have run. Just a word from race control, they're going to black flag Morris if he does not move over and let McLean through.
Look at the way this situation has fallen into Mark Scaife's lap. His closest pursuers for the title have all struck trouble. Jason Bright, his teammate, ended up in the sand trap. Stephen Johnson went out early. Russell Engle driving with a damaged car. This has really fallen into the lap of the reigning Shell Series champion.
We've got Greg Ritter in the commentary box. We'll be speaking with him momentarily. His teammate, Cameron McLean, is the new race leader. It's Ford. A very strong run. Scaife has got to battle the Blue Oval boys at the moment. Through they come. Morris is the first car on road, but he's actually 10th in the race. The race leader is the second car you see on your screen. It's the number 18 Shell Helix Ford, the sole remaining Shell Helix Ford.
Hard under brakes into Cougar corner. If they swing onto pit straight, Morris still holds that position in front of the race leader. And I'm sure he'll be shown a black flag soon if the officials follow through.
Scaife on the inside.
Scaife gets a good run out of there and takes it back.
And Jones is lining up as well. Dan has a second thought. So Mark Scaife back up front. Cameron McLean sticking to him like glue.
Mark, brave.
This is the critical phase that everyone talks about. Stephen Richards talks about it, and you can see him just emerging into the picture at the bottom of Mountain Straight. And the speed that car has shown throughout the day. Could Stephen Richards climb back into contention before this one's over? It's a four-way dogfight at the moment. Mark Scaife in control. Cameron McLean coming up behind the HRT Commodore. Then it's Brad Jones, Dean Canto. These four cars, you could throw a blanket over them.
And Morris, we've still got 10 cars on the lead lap. Morris fighting to stay there. Now it looks like he's moving aside, is he? Has he let them through? Indeed he has. Good work, Paul Morris. He's going to let these top four get on with it. Now this is going to be very interesting. We're getting close to just 20 laps to go. 25 laps left to run in the 1,000 kilometre classic. What a race this has been. Unbelievable.
I think the reason that Paul Morris may have relented, I saw the Fesco officials heading up to the Big Kev Racing pit just a few moments ago. Perhaps it could have been a bit of a, please move out the way. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, it may have been a tougher penalty if he didn't. Here's the lead, Mark Scaife. It's amazing watching the cream rise to the surface as you work your way through 6.5 hours of racing. Look at the quality here. But the real surprise packet has got to be Brad Jones and the Aussie Mail Ford. Those guys have had a wretched couple of seasons in V8 Supercar racing, and all of a sudden, they've got it together.
Greg Ritter still sitting up in the commentary box with us as we watch this battle for first and second. Your co-driver is just trying so desperately to hang on to third.
Yeah, it looks like he had a couple of moments before, and I think he's settled down a bit now as he locks another break.
You'd be telling him about that?
No, I think he'll get his head together and, you know, settle down and, you know, hopefully pull in the leaders.
Canto is applying the pressure. Greg?
Just cannot believe the times being set by this battle for the lead. Scaife's just done another 2:11.4. Jones a 2:11.2. The gap 1 second. And Jones is just hanging on. Oops, missed a gear there.
There we go. Sort of, mate, you got a box full.
And I'd say 10 has got through. Oh, he's side by side, so that's not too bad. I thought Stephen Ellery may have given a position. Look how close this is. Up Mountain Straight, heading towards XR8 turn, and Ellery will hang on. So the battle is not only for the lead, it's right throughout the top 10 in a thrilling finish to the V8 Supercar 1,000 lap, 144 of 161. We're winding it down, and there is just 1 second separating the first two cars, the top two cars, Scaife and Jones.
It's coming down to a two-car dogfight, Holden and Ford. Scaife and Jones has 5.7 seconds back to Cameron McLean in third.
If you showed somebody this and said, oh, this is the last sort of 18 laps of a 1,000-kilometre race, they go, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. 20-lap sprint. Just the beauty of the regulations as devised by the entrance group way back in the early 1990s to come up with a basic package that was bulletproof, reliable, a lot of excitement, a lot of noise, a lot of power. And this is the end result. These cars just turn on so much entertainment, and you never get it better than the 1,000 Ks around Mount Panorama. Look at Garth Tander sniffing around the rear bumper of the Super Cheap Autos car. These two have been in contention all day, hovering around in the top 10. Now they're fighting over 6th place.
Well, this race is being telecast throughout the United Kingdom via Channel 5, which is a free-to-air network in the UK, and you don't reckon John Clelland's going to go back home to Scotland and tell a few of his mates about it.
Love's coming out here, and he would have every finger and every toe crossed as he stands in the pit lane. There's nothing he can do about it. But the Jones brothers team down in the Aussie Mail pit, and watch his co-driver in contention to win the V8 Supercar 1000.
Across the line for yet another one. So we go back up, and Murphy's got third, rather fourth. The Canto's coming back. So third is still McLean. He's further up the road, and I thought Greg Murphy may have been able to gap Dean Canto, but Canto has done a tremendous job to stay with him. Just in the back of shot there was Stephen Ellery fending off Garth Tander.
Scaife's pumped it out by a few tenths now. 1.5 seconds the gap between Jones and Scaife. 2:11.1 for Scaife and 2:11.5 for Jones. It's going to be interesting to see whether Jones can respond. They've still got a fair way to go. We're not even into the final 10 laps of this one, and as we know from past 1,000-kilometre races at Bathurst, a lot can happen in that final 10.
Let's update you on some of the positions a little further back, because Stephen Richards in the leading FTR car, well, it's not the leading car, but the lead car, is in 9th position behind Russell Engle. McConville is in the top 10 in 10th position. As we look further down the line at the Alan Heath Dale Breed entry, there is Stephen Richards, one-time race leader, actually multiple-time race leader here today, and is dropped right back. McConville, then Ashby is 11th, Paul Romano, then Paul Morris 13th, Nathan Pretty and Rick Kelly inside the top 15, and Anthony Tratt and Alan Jones rounding out that top 15, and Team Kiwi maintaining their 16th position.
It's just amazing how many times Glenn Seton has turned up at Mount Panorama with a potential race-winning car, and there's always been some niggling problem which has kept him out of the battle. It's just happened here in the final stint. They were fast all the way through the race. They had that final safety car period, and then of course the tyre rubbing on the guy. They had to come in and replace the tyre, and that took Richards out of the battle for the lead.
Across the top, yet another time.
He's back in 9th place now, Stephen Richards. Good minute or so behind the race leader. Here's another guy who's hung in there all day, Rick Bates and Cameron McConville, the Lansvale Smash Repairs Commodore. Just goes to show if you keep chipping away, you can get a top 10 finish, and that's not a disgrace in this company. They're actually running in 10th place now.
And full credit to Rick Bates, because he's with a much more experienced road racer, the Rally Ace. It's been a valuable, valuable experience for Rick. Most certainly not his first road race, and certainly not his first Bathurst. He's done his very best today, and it's been a great performance for this privateer team. Sydney's own V8 Supercar team, they're not far from home.
Just an indication of the crowd figures that they've attracted to Mount Panorama this year. Over 24,000 on Thursday, nearly 30,000 on Friday, more than 40,000 yesterday. And Sunday, there's more than 50,000 people here, can you believe it? 50,393 through the gate, a total of 144,800 race fans over the weekend. Tell me Mount Panorama doesn't deserve an upgrade. Got to show those figures to a politician.
Tremendous effort, and it's great to think, and it's quite exciting to think we're going throughout the UK via Channel 5, America via the Speed Vision Network, the whole of Europe via Motors TV, TV1 NZ, who are always with us, Power Sport in Argentina, Telstra Seton in New Zealand, and also Greenlight Television that do quite a bit of post-production work with this race. So marvellous exposure for the best category, the best touring car racing, the best saloon car racing in the world as we ride with the enforcer, Russell Engle. It's been a tough day at the office, and his teammate and boss, Larry Perkins, was kicking himself before for making that error in pit lane. He said, I just didn't think that it would be wet, and the most fundamental of errors, and it just turned around on him as he crunched the tyre wall. Russell is battling on, and he needs to, because the championship, even if Scaife wins this race, the championship is not over yet.
If you're watching at home, don't panic. We're not taking our eyes off the lead battle. We're just monitoring that gap. It's maintained about 1 second, 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, Brad pulled back 0.2 of a second that lap.
Yeah, he's found some more time here, but they seem to swap fastest lap. Scaife was about 0.4 quicker the previous lap. Jones has taken 0.3 off him there, so it's a real seesawing battle. But Scaife's just seems to have a little bit more up his sleeve.
Into Hell Corner.
Oh, Bradley!
A little taily
That
on the exit.
Shows how hard he's pushing. He took 0.4 of a second off Scaife. Can you believe this? Lap 146.
2:10 he's just done.
2:10.8. 2:10.8 for Jones. Headlights on.
Would you like to buy a customer car? Give the Jones brothers a call.
Well, this is incredible stuff. It's like rising from the ashes. You thought they were all gone and buried. Mount Panorama, after the qualifying performance and the wretched season they've had, but they are now flying the Ford flag.
Although Mark Scaife has a lot of supporters around the country, and particularly in Melbourne, which is where he lives, there will be a band of people gathered around the telly, whether it's at home or in the pubs on the central coast of New South Wales. His father, Russell Scaife, will be watching intently. I'm not quite sure if Russell's here. I haven't seen him this weekend. But they will be very, very interested, because Mark is heading towards his third Bathurst victory, his first in a V8 supercar. If he can sustain that pressure from behind, and with Brad Jones making that little error on the exit of Hell Corner, that's given Mark Scaife a little more room to breathe. Ellery catching on Canto, and Tander hot in pursuit as well. Murphy has been able to leave the Ford Tickford Racing AU. You can no longer see Murphy in that camera shot, so he's concentrating on catching Cameron McLean.
Down toward Forest Elbow. This is really tough times for everyone. The drivers are tired, the brakes have worn, tyres are getting down, fuel loads dropping. They've had a very long, hard day, everyone involved with this competition. And it really is a battle to the finish. Survival of the fittest. It was under a second, the gap between Brad Jones and Mark Scaife last time around, but Brad made a mistake going through Hell Corner, so I'm sure the gap will be bigger this time.
We still have 8 cars on the lead lap. Garth Tander has finally squeezed through on the super cheap Ford. Stephen Ellery and Jeff Brabham have done a wonderful job today. Likewise, Tander and Bargwana, the defending champions. It's been a tough old day. Here's the replay coming down into the Auto by Tel Chase. Thank you very much.
You won't believe what happened down here at the Aussie Mail pit. Tony Longhurst has marched down and come to spoke to Kim Jones and said, look, we'll back off if you back off, so we both don't have to come in to do a splash and go. Now, Kim's answer was, no way. Now, the reason why is because they believe they have 2 laps in reserve.
Well, nail-biting finish here.
Could have been a setup too by Jeff Gregg just to suss out how much fuel the Aussie boys had left.
Well, it'll all unfold in the dying laps of this incredible race. Incredible contest. It's been on from lap 1.
7 to go. The Romano Kelly car continues to battle on, and they're just outside the top 10. But this is the story of the day. Brad Jones and John Cleland, how they've battled their way through the field. They were heading for a good result at the Queensland 500 as well, until some mechanical problems struck and forced them out early.
Bradley Jones has no radio contact with the team. I'm not sure if they've been able to fix that problem, but he has got nothing to lose and everything to gain here, whereas Mark Scaife has plenty to lose if something goes wrong in the dying laps of this race.
He's pulled
7 laps to go, Mark.
7 laps to go. 5.
He's pulled 3/10 of a second out of him on that last lap, but it's not enough. He'd be needing to pull almost a second a lap out of him, wouldn't you, Jason Bright?
Well, I'd say so, mate. It's really hard to call. You know, I think you know, it's one thing catching him, but you know, as everyone knows, it's another thing passing him. And Scafey's not the easiest guy in the world to pass.
Be interesting if Scafey's starting to back it off a little bit now to try and save a bit more fuel, because Bradley's lap was what, 0.4 of a second quicker last lap. If he catches again next lap, then we're really into some goodies.
Garth Tander is very determined at the moment, trying desperately to get up into the top 5. He's currently in 6th as we join the race leader again. This is one of my favourite camera angles. This really tells the story beautifully.
Sure does. You see everything in here, the man at work. The lines he's taking, the pedal action and the shifting. He can take some telemetry on board. You can see that big black hose. Looks like it's coming out of the base of the camera. It's a cold air system. Blows cold air onto the driver as he trying to combat the enormous cabin temperatures inside these cars.
Cabin temperatures aren't too much of a problem today, mate. I'll give you the
Yeah, I was going to say, but it was cold this morning in the
probably
morning.
got it closed off. Well, we got the heater on today.
So the Holden Racing Team Commodore sounding strong. It's been one of the dominant cars throughout today. Look at the speed on the left-hand side of your screen, 280, 290 kilometres an hour. Incredible pace. Check out his lap time this time around and see if he's backing it off a bit.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
You look like he's short shifting at the moment, Joe.
No,
So
mate, if he's used the second through the chase, I think that means he's not conserving too much fuel, and you know, it seems as though he's still pushing pretty hard.
So Mark Scaife continuing to attack, trying to break the back of the challenger. 2:11.12.
1-2.
2:11.4.
So he's put out 0.3.
3.8 seconds the gap. They're matching each other for pace. Doesn't look like Scaife's backing off at all. I can't imagine HRT, with all their professionalism, would have got their fuel strategy wrong.
And when you look at the big picture, you only need to wind the clock back 4 or 5 years, and this guy was struggling to stay in the category.
Yeah, can you remember with the white?
Yeah, when he
was
the white car, and then of course they ran the Sega sponsorship for a little while, and things were really, really tough. And then the pending retirement of Peter Brock made John Crennan make a few crucial decisions. One of them was to bring this guy on board, and Scaife had the second life in his career and hasn't looked back since being given that opportunity by John Crennan and the team at Holden Special Vehicles and the Holden Racing Team and Tom Walkinshaw Racing.
He's a very astute politician. He knows how to build a team around him to get the best guys on his side, and he does it with consummate ease. He really has got this HRT team structure around his car working very, very well. Down the hill. Hard under brakes for the elbow. Mark Scaife looks like he's broken the back of the Aussie Male Ford Challenge as he punches it out of here. Down corner on straight, lights on, car looking good. And he really has had champions luck on his side today. Things have just really fallen into his lap. His main competitors for the Shell Championship title all falling by the wayside.
5 to go. What an enthralling race. They are the eyes of Jeff Grech, team manager of the Holden Racing Team. He's been around a long, long time. And we just have to wonder how serious this fuel problem is. You heard Jason Bright say that if they're going second through the chase, he doesn't think that they've got a problem. You want to have second thoughts, Jason, or you'll stick with that?
Oh, mate, I really don't know. You know, it's hard to say. He could either be really confident that they're going to make it to the end, or you know, he's charging on to. He might have to do a stop, you know, a splash and go. But let's hope that he's really confident he's going to make it to the end.
He's done another 2:11 neat, 2:11.08 for Scaife, 2:10.6 for Bradley. So Scaife's not backing off at all. If he has got a fuel problem, he's certainly not showing it.
What have we got here? Oh, look at this.
Collision between the Lansvale Commodore.
Ashby and Reed going round on the exit of the elbow, and that's a shame because they were running in 11th position when that happened. And it looks like Steve Reed on board. It could have been Trevor Ashby, I'm not quite sure, couldn't quite see. We go back to the front. And Mark Scaife is inside 5 laps. The Aussie male Falcon is not giving up, though. 3.3 seconds the margin the last time around. Who has the more fuel? Who has the best legs on these last 4.5 laps?
Well, you can see
Bradley's having a go, isn't he?
How hard he's trying. The rear of the car stepping out under power as he brings it up through Reed Park. There's the Aussie male team, John Bow, good mate of Brad Jones, watching from the garage. And Bradley's just giving it everything, driving his heart out here to try and close the gap to Scaife.
I wonder where my mate Simon Wills is.
Oh, dear.
He's bringing it home. What a great day's racing for Brad Jones, and he's not only been around for a long, long time, multiple Australian NASCAR and Oscar champion, Super Touring champion. He's done things overseas as well, Macau, and enormously experienced. He's very well respected as a driver, and the Jones brothers organisation run a very, very slick operation out of Albury, and always have.
It's so nice, you know, when you've seen how much trouble they've had for the last couple of years, that it's finally come together for them.
And here's Team Kiwi, currently running in the teens still, and it's been a tough old weekend for them, but they've battled on, and they will go to Pukekohe as national heroes, that's for sure.
5 laps.
4 to go in the V8 Supercar 1000. Mark Scaife, and that difference, the margin is still 3.3 seconds. He is unable to bring it back.
Regardless of what happens here, I don't think Aussie Male have disgraced themselves. Brilliant performance by the Albury-based team, and everyone's nervous in the Holden Racing team pen.
Tony Strawn, that's Mark's partner, looking on. She's very, very nervous. A big day for everyone involved. They climb the hill again, and the amount of times they do this is running out. You look in the background, and Brad Jones' car has not been able to get past Team Kiwi as yet. A quick rundown through that order. Murphy is still maintaining third and is comfortably in third. So a podium result. It looks like a pair of thirds in the Enduros for Murphy, and Kelly McLean is fourth, Canto fifth. Tander has not been able to make any ground on him. Ellery is still seventh. Engle, Richards and McConville, that's your top 10. Ashby, Romano, Morris, Pretty, and Anthony Tratt has put in his drive of the year as we ride with the third place Kmart Racing Commodore of Greg Murphy.
Well, if there is going to be any splashy and dashes, there's nothing, there's no action in either of the garages.
No.
I think it's probably a bit of theatrics by the Holden Racing team toward the end there, because Scaife has not backed off at all. He's giving it everything. Cannot imagine a team of HRT's stature getting their fuel strategy wrong. Mark Scaife. And he got a couple of laps to go now. 158, 161, and he's still attacking this mountain. It'll be a brilliant victory to Holden Racing team. They haven't had a great success here in the V8 Supercar era. They're only the one victory in 1996. Scaife really wants to claim one under V8 power, and HRT, I'm sure, would like 2 V8 Supercar crowns at Bathurst.
We said the story of the day was Brad Jones and John Clellan. What about these two guys? Cameron McLean and Greg Ritter, unsung heroes, that's for sure, in the Shell Helix Ford. And it's looking like a pair of fourths for McLean. He finished fourth last year with Stephen Johnson. That just seems to be his number here at the mountain.
So the gap between Scaife and Jones, 3.4 seconds, 2:11.2. To Scaife at 2:11.3 to Jones, so he's continuing to attack, but not able to close that gap.
Just had a word to Jeff Gregg, who is pacing up and down at the moment here in the Holden Racing team pit. He still says, Rusty, it's touch and go at the moment regarding Mark's fuel. They've told him to back it off a little bit in these closing laps, hoping that will make a difference. He believes it will be enough to get him to the line, but at the moment he said, we're in the hands of the electrician.
Well, radio communication there, not long to go, push on. We're not quite sure who that was. We join Mark Scaife again. 3 laps to run here at the mountain. This is nail-biting stuff. Will he or will he not have enough fuel to get to the line? Brad Jones is in a similar situation. The incredibly fit, the incredibly determined Mark Scaife has not won Bathurst since 1992 and has never won it in a V8 Supercar.
Down the mountain. The circuit's been cruel to him on occasions. Remember 1998 when he and Craig Lowndes absolutely dominated the event, only to go out with a tyre failure late in the race. It's been very cruel to him on occasions. Maybe this is the day the sun will shine on Mark Scaife at Mount Panorama.
That's Brad's wife, Mel, watching on, and very, very anxious times down there.
It really is a team sport, motor racing. More so than any sport. It's just incredible the amount of involvement that goes into the preparation of these cars. They put the drivers in them, but the driver's only as good as his engineer and the mechanics who put the car together. The whole support structure behind a race team. Everyone feels the pain and the pleasure, depending on the race result.
Bradley just pulled back on the first sector of the course. Bradley just pulled back 0.3 of a second.
There's
That's
a lot
on the first sector.
There's a lot to make up, though, isn't there?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just wondering if Mark's backing it off anymore.
2 laps remaining. It's been fluctuating over the last few laps. I think Mark's well in control of this situation.
In front.
2:11.0 and Brad's done a 2:10.8, so Scaife still matching Brad's times. 0.2 of a second faster that time around, so he's not backing off at all. You can guarantee Brad will have his pedal to the metal. He's got nothing to lose here.
Climb Mountain Straight for the second last time, I should say. The Aussie male Ford is not giving up. And can you believe it? The blue oval will be pipped at the mountain yet again.
Amazing stuff, isn't it? It's almost becoming like a bogey track for Ford. Last time they won in 1998, but the last 3 years it's come down to a fight.
You could call it Falcon Unbelievable, couldn't you?
You had to get that in, didn't you, Ben?
That's your favourite saying of the weekend.
I know, I can't help it.
160 of 161. We are winding down on what has been a vintage Bathurst, that's for sure. A crowd of in excess of 50,000 has witnessed this over the entire weekend. Just shy of 145,000 race fans have visited Mount Panorama. And this man, Mark Scaife, looks like walking out of the place on top, victorious, and almost we say, because it won't be, but there's only 2 rounds to go, wrapping up yet another Shell Series Championship.
Well, you've got to hand it to him. He's the consummate professional. He's achieved a hell of a lot in his career. Australian Drivers' Champion, Australian Touring Car Champion, former Bathurst winner with Nissan. He really does attack it with professionalism.
It's also great for Tony Longhurst, isn't it?
Yes, very much so. Into the chase for the second last time. Mark Scaife will receive notification that he is about to begin the final lap of the V8 Supercar 1000.
Look at the statistics for Tony Longhurst. The last time he won a Shell Championship Series round was Lakeside in 1992.
Last lap, mate. Keep the concentration up. Watch that slow car.
1992, driving a BMW. So Tony Longhurst has been out of the winner's circle for a long, long time, and this is a Shell Championship Series round.
They're on their way home. They are less than 6.2 kilometres from the checkered flag. The combination of Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst. There's Tony, John Crennan, the main man at HSV and HRT, and there's smiles all round. Wow, 13 years since Tony Longhurst has stood on the top step of the podium at Bathurst. He's come so close over the last 2 or 3 or 4 years. Some silly things like throttle cables, etc., have denied him when he's put in brilliant drives in the Castrol Ford. Now he's a part of the Holden Racing team, and he and his teammate Mark Scaife are half a lap from victory. Across the top for the final time, listen to the roar.
Holden fans erupt. Mark Scaife bringing it home for the Holden Racing team. It's been a dominant performance. They've set the pace throughout the day, been in contention when it counted, and now he's going to bring it home.
Across Holden Skyline for the final time. There was talk about not enough fuel to get home. Well, Bradley Jones is still there, but some 3 seconds behind. It is as good as over. Mark Scaife, and look at the car. There's not a nick, there's not a dent, there's not a scratch on it. We said that they were playing a conservative strategy earlier. They didn't challenge any passing manoeuvres. They let people get through. They didn't want to fight. They didn't want any conflict, and they played a smart race. What a sophisticated strategy. What great driving from Scaife and Longhurst. This is one that they will remember forever. Through the chase for the final time. Mark Scaife under brakes. The sniff of the champagne is right there. through past one of the Lansvale cars. They know that they have got it. And Mark Scaife says, we have done it. We have done it. He comes across the line. He's never won a bucket supercar. He has now. Scaife and Longhurst do it at Bathurst.
Thanks, boys. That was just unbelievably good.
Let's take a look at the full results for you, and a repeat of 2000 with 9 drivers, 9 cars on the lead lap. It was a Scaife Longhurst victory. Jones and Clellan, what a race for those guys. And Kelly and Murphy really fought hard. They will be your podium place getters. Ritter and McLean, it's another 4th for Cameron. Richards and Canto did very well and ended up being the top FTR Falcon. Tander Barguana, Ellery Brabham 7th, and Engle and Perkins, what could have been for those guys. Seton and Richards 9, McConville and Bates ended up inside the top 10. A great effort for the Lansvale Smash Repairs car. Team Kiwi 16th behind Tran and Jones. 2 very outstanding performances there. A little further back, what a tough day for Lowndes and Crompton, debuting that new Gibson Motorsport AUXR8. What could have been for them? That was the story. Then we get back into the retirements. The last to retire was Larkham and Gardner, Brock and Owen. And there you are, Stephen. You and Paul Radisich out with a blown engine. Quite a few. The attrition rate was fairly high today. And 43 wheel and lay. That's a sad story after being consistently in the top 10 all the way back to David Bernard and Matthew White.